And here we go. I'm RP Thor. Welcome to the DragonShip. This is episode 23. Today, we're going to talk about why you won't succeed. So let's get into this. Before I get started, I want to talk about why you won't succeed. Well, let's make a list. Say you're a young man. You're very familiar with this list. You may not even be conscious that this list has been thrust upon you throughout your life in the West. However, the reason that you won't succeed is we live in a society, and what we project in all forms of communication today is that everything is equal and equitable, for which this is not objectively true. But you're told that it is true, and you're bad if you disagree. You're told that masculinity is toxic, and bad behavior is to be avoided. This is done to you on purpose. Now you were taught in school that when you play sports, there are no winners, no losers. Only the fact that you participate is what counts. So we're all winners and we're all special and we can do anything. That's the ultimate lie that gives you the slave mind mentality. And the slave mind mentality is what will ensure that you will not succeed, but you will ensure that others will have success, but it won't be your own. But you'll be told that you're a very good boy with a mind of a slave, and that you will be pat on the head, and you'll be told that you do a good job at work, and that you pay your taxes like a good slave. You will get the reward of finally finding that very special one. That one is set aside for you. All society will tell you that. You have normal male desires for a female. And you'll be told that many things about this is true, especially that there is that one special one that's been set aside by the universe and by the state and by that all that is holy. She is chosen just for you, a soulmate, if you will, but you can only have just one. We've talked about it on this channel before. They will tell you that you must do certain things to elevate that one woman so that you can find the one and you will have a happy life. Notice, it didn't say successful life, but a happy life. When you find out this is not true, many of you will give up, and ultimately, even some of you will give up on what is most important. That's why you won't succeed. You will also not succeed because you were told that the dad bod is the sexiest thing to ever have and grace the eyes of all real womanhood. Do you think that's really true? Just watch any episode of Fresh and Fit After Dark and see what the women really want. And what women are told is beautiful and sexy for them is any size. And they are tens. Society and popular culture ignores the science behind how women actually do select mates. And make no mistake, women do the selecting when it comes to mating. So it comes down to basic survival, men and women that are watching this channel. And this is what you must conquer. This aspect of your life in order to succeed. Some of you will have these drives, and some of you will be able to delay this quest. And if you do, and you gain the proper knowledge of success, success can be attained from just about anyone at any time in your life. So you'll also not succeed because of addiction and sedation. This is a warning to you. You're taught in society to take actions as a man, not to take actions as a man because you're perceived as being too toxic. If you take action as a man, you cannot avoid this in today's society, and you'll be shamed. Another reason you won't succeed is because the easiest solution is to immediately receive a dopamine hit, and that will sedate you. Sedations are dangerous. The advance of gaming, gambling, videos, on-demand porn, online social networks, all of these and many more provide an intense and immediate small hit of dopamine to your brainstem, and it is briefly ever so satisfying. However, this does not provide any path to success, unless, of course, you are the supplier of the dopamine hits. So if you feel like you have the weight of the world upon your shoulders, much like Atlas, with little or no success and pride left in you, what do you wish for? The world to be much lighter, and for it find a way to make it much lighter for you? Some have called it the Matrix, and to take it, they also call it the blue pill, the red pill. And most of you will fight vehemently to keep yourself sedated and to keep that blue pill down. The alternative is so harsh and sharp, and you must take action. This is never easy, yet in action there is much solace and pride for which you are always shamed. Yet it is the source which is self-fulfilling, and more action you take over time is much more satisfying and fulfilling and leaves you with a tremendous amount of resources at your disposal. Nothing else can achieve this but your action. It is the delayed satisfaction that lasts for decades and gives you everlasting goals to strive for. This is the true burden of performance that every man must carry in order to succeed. This is why you won't succeed if you don't do this. Do you remember what Atlas actually said when he was asked by the women around him if he wanted the world to be lighter so he could endure his burden more easily? Remember what he said? Do they even teach this anymore? Atlas replied with, "Not at all. I do not wish the world to be lighter. I wish for larger and stronger shoulders so I can carry an even heavier and bigger world." Stop for a moment and think about that wisdom and the difference in mindset. The slave always wishes for a lighter burden, while the free man always takes the actions for the strength to carry an even heavier burden. This is the true secret to carrying a lighter burden. The stronger you are, the lighter the burden feels. Yet today, because of the veracity of society against stoicism and the ancient wisdom that is kept from you, and is oftentimes, even if you do, you forget this as soon as it gets hard and heavy because of the sedatives that are available to you to relieve the weight of your life. So today on the DragonShip, we're going to raise the tide and lift all boats. We're going to give you the secret to where to start so you can succeed, not why you won't succeed. And it is fitness. Yes, you heard that right. Physical fitness. You must start exercise, not recreational exercise, but exercise that is meant to be. Exercise can become recreation, but you need to keep the right mindset about exercise. It is a must for a functioning body and a functioning mind. Exercise is the discipline to physically work the muscles or groups of muscles with the intent to improve over time the functionality of said muscle groups and your body, thereby improving health and longevity. It is Men's Fitness November. We're going to cover this over the next 3 to 5 episodes in detail. Physical fitness, mental fitness, habits, routines. We're even going to cover if you are fit for violence. So the next few episodes are going to be really exciting. So even if you were so unfortunate and you say, Thor, I could never work out, I'll tell you this. Even if you were so unfortunate to be a quadriplegic, for which I have witnessed, that cannot move, but they can only move a finger, and they can exercise. That provides discipline and a path to success because it creates the mentality that fights the slave mind. That's what we're broadcasting today. In today's panel, we have experts that have spent decades from aesthetic bodybuilding to even combat sports and understand the importance of physical fitness, discipline upon the mind and the body. This is where you start, and this is where success is born. Some form of physical discipline and mental discipline is required. When you take actions for that, it's amazing. It is the key to everything. And so that's why we start with it. The men on this panel have done extraordinary things and have all come from very humble backgrounds today. We're going to have a very exciting show. Each one's going to explain where they started with physical exercise, how it changed their life, how it grew into success, and even some use their physical success and exercise recreationally and now have turned it into businesses. And that's amazing. That's turning your passion into something that you can earn a living at. It's an amazing thing. So we're going to start with each member giving a little bit of a background on their take on physical fitness and why this is the crux of starting your path to success. And we'll give you tips along the way on the DragonShip. Once again, I'm RP Thor, and let's bring up our panel. We'll start bringing up the panel with Phil Foster, Mark Daniels, Raith Deantior, our buddy Laurence.
Yo, yo, yo.
The Hudsman. Welcome, guys. How you doing today? Welcome to the DragonShip. We're going to have fun today. Physical fitness. So
Glenn, what happened to your beard?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Got a baby face over there.
He's cute, isn't he?
He is so handsome. Physically fit. You are muted, Glenn, so you need to check.
Oh, that pissed me off. Trust me. I did not like the shaving this morning.
But did you make a mistake?
No. I got a rule that are paying me pretty good money to shave, so
And
it grows back.
yeah,
It grows back.
No worries, man. No worries.
Oh, but look, we talk about physical fitness, man, and I got the perfect background for you.
Yeah, you want to get started today and give us your take that we just talked about, your history on this, why you turned to it, and why it's actually led to your success. And that's what we're talking about here. And that's why many do not achieve success, because they don't develop that habit of exercise.
Yeah, I was always an active person growing up. I was never really ever out of shape until I got injured in the military. Then when I got injured, couldn't be as active. And I got to, hold on, that fat. I was 285 pounds at my heaviest. And I was married, and, I had a 3-year-old son at the time. And I remember one day not being able to run up the stairs to chase him, to play with him. And I knew I was a little overweight. I didn't really know how overweight I really was. I just knew I was fat. And I knew something had to change when I couldn't breathe after running up just a flight of stairs. So I made it a point to, change my health to get healthier physically so I could be around more. I was afraid of having a heart attack and dying. And then I started setting out little goals for myself. And, 5 pounds a month, or 5 pounds for the first 2 months. And at that time, I didn't know the gym very well. I knew fitness in the sense from the military perspective, which is a lot of calisthenics, a lot of, running 5 miles with your rucksack. I mean, yeah, we've gone to the gym and, we weightlifted, but we were more dealing with hand-to-hand combat, just a lot of grappling and stuff like that, to where I didn't really understand the methodology of weightlifting. And lucky for me, I decided to speak up one day when I was at the gym and ask somebody, hey, how do I go about this right? Because I just don't want to waste my time in here and be spinning my wheels. But how do I really go about getting healthier? And that's what it took. That's what the first step it really took, was to actually swallow my pride and ask somebody for help. Well, as time went on, I was losing weight. This fat guy was slowly dying. And I got to a point where somebody told me that he was a competitor. I said, yeah, I'm going to try to do what you do. And he looked at me and says, look, man, I know you've been doing good. You've been losing a lot of weight, but your fat ass will never come on stage with me. I said, cool. Hold my beer. And then I beat him. I beat him every time we stepped on the stage together. He lost. He was always 2 or 3 places behind me. But what I learned in fitness was so, it was more than just getting a better physique. I learned that the discipline and the dedication and the effort you have to put in fitness, if you put that same effort in any area of your life, you will see success. And I tried that. So after I placed in my first shows, I'm 30 years old, and I was like, "Ooh, what do I want to do now?" I checked that off the bucket list. And I decided I wanted to go to college. And I was a horrible student in high school. But because I saw the goals and the things that I've accomplished in fitness, it gave me the confidence to take on another challenge and prove myself not to be an idiot, not to be stupid. This proved myself that I could do that. And I got that, confidence in myself through the tangible goals that I was accomplishing in the weight room. And then from there, I just realized that, man, if you apply discipline, firmly, consistently, you will see results. And that's where success starts from. And that's why physical fitness is so important for guys, not just to stay in shape, but for our health as we get older, our bodies don't work as well, our testosterone lowers. We have to do the things that we need to do in order to maintain the physical fitness for violence standard that we all must have and maintain as a man. But you don't necessarily work at that if you're not working on the basic things like being in the gym. So the gym literally saved my life because I was going down a very dark road, eating a lot of Twinkies and a lot of ho-hos, turning into Fat Albert. And you know, I really appreciate the guy that told me that I can never compete. I think honestly, low key, he's probably one of my favorite people that has ever talked shit to me, because it was his shit talking that challenged me to do something that I probably didn't think I would do in the first place. But because of his challenge, it led me to somewhere else, and it transcended, you know, my physique and my mentality, my outlook on life. It all started from that moment. So that's why for me, fitness is so crucial. It's so critical. If you want to see a change in your, if you have depression, go to the gym. If you have a bad day, go to the gym. Your girl's not fucking you, go to the gym. You know why? Because you might find a girl that will if you keep on working out. No, but you know, it's just the key. The answer was literally go to the gym was my solution to addressing everything. But that's all I'm going to say. I was long-winded enough.
No, that was actually beautiful because, you know, I'm sure you've had this too, and I have too. I mean, I'll share a little bit. Since you're doing a bit of a transformation, I can share a little bit of that as well. Since we're talking about why fitness is so important, but you know, I had days where I don't want to go to the gym, and since I have made it, you know, a routine, I'll go to the gym even though I don't want to, and some of my best workouts have ever been. It's just like when I was practicing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu when I was young. Same thing. I didn't want to work out, and I would have an epic roll session, you know. And on those days, I didn't want to go, and I was making excuses for it. But if I can, I'll just share a little bit of my transformation before we move along. What do you say, Glenn? You want to see?
Let's do it.
All right. I'm going to talk a little bit about why, what's going on here with me. 12 years ago, I got very, very sick. I ended up having, I'll just share my story. I was fit, but I ended up with, this has consequences when you let go of your health. I ended up having a tooth infection. Didn't know it. It was from a popcorn kernel that had burrowed into my jaw, and I lost bone. This infection essentially caused sepsis, which I had to take clindamycin many times over the course of 5 months, which ultimately led to an erosion in my colon because of killing all the good bacteria that coats it, so to speak. This caused me to lose my ability to absorb nutrition well, caused a lot of issues with weight loss. Mentally, I couldn't keep up. I was not attractive. It caused problems in my relationship. And as soon as I got a hold of what's going on here and just started, you know, fixing myself by physical activity and not just thinking I had stress and I needed rest, it changed everything. So let me go ahead and share a window here. I'll share the first one. Guys, this is the first one where I was just coming back from being sick. And this is a course of a decade. So let's go ahead and take a look. That's Thor. It's 10 years apart. That photo right there is just over a year old now. Okay? Not quite. Maybe 10 months. Yeah, that guy right there, he's 59. This guy is 49. Just give you an example. Let's take that out of the stream.
That's crazy.
It
Like
is
I
a
don't even
difference, isn't
recognize
it?
you.
It is a difference, isn't it?
You look like Larry the Lobster on the right and Squidward on the left, man.
Who?
Jack Tan and Handsome on the right.
Yeah, I was 167 pounds on the left. I was about 5'11".
Dude, I haven't been
Let's go a little bit.
167 pounds since I was born.
Just a year ago, it was 211 at 10% body fat. So let's stop with that one, and I'll share another one just to give you an idea of the progress is spaced a little differently apart. So I think you'll be good with this one. This one's just to give you an idea. This one's a little fresher of where I ended up. And there's a 9-year difference. This is where I was pulling it together. So that's a year in.
Dude, look at those shoulders.
Yep. And that's a 9-year difference. So it's not an overnight thing. Yeah, I got to get back there for sure. And I will. Had some challenges this last 10 months or so with frequency of exercise. But I'll tell you what, I still get them in at least once a week, if not twice a week. Not getting my 3 or 4 days in like I needed to. But that is rapidly changing. It's circumstantial completely. But talk about a bit of a difference. Yeah, I think I had gone up to about 174 right there. And yeah, you don't want to gain too fast. You guys know why. But over time, it makes a very big difference. So I'll stop sharing that. I thought you guys might want to see that.
So for those who don't know, why do you not want to gain too fast? Is it stretch marks or?
Mm-mm.
I mean, it's not stretch marks. You got to realize like your muscles could only grow in a decent rate that could really support what you want it to do, right? You could, a lot of people get big too quickly and they end up getting hurt in the process. I know a lot of people that go that way, and it turns to fat. Well, if you're not on your diet right, if you're just eating and lifting heavy to grow, because there's the thing called dirty bulking that a lot people would do, is like they will eat those cheeseburgers and then McDonald's and they'll just adjust their workout to gain mass type of workout, but that just doesn't really pan out for them in the long run.
Well, yeah, I'll give you a little bit more detail on that, and I know that Phil will get us even further. I've talked to a lot of guys that just start working out and they're fat as fuck, and they say, "Oh yeah, I used to work out and be buff just like you, but it all turned to fat." Muscle does not turn to fat, gentlemen. That's the biggest fucking myth. Sorry, you're just a fat fuck. But I'm just being brutal. It's the truth, If you gain weight too fast, you're getting too fucking fat, and fat will striate in the muscle. That's why when we have Kobe beef, the highest, most flavorful beef you can get, you're getting the muscle. You're getting the striations of fat within that muscle, which makes it absolutely delicious. If we ate humans, they'd probably be delicious. But aside from that,
wait, okay, hold on. Take that statement.
Okay, we'll take that back.
Dahmer said so. It was good.
We're not to that point yet.
Yeah, we're not at that point. Jesus, I don't want to be there. But if you were eating too many calories, the weight puts itself on and you get that kind of Michelin man look. That's too much. And yes, you can gain so much fat so quickly, you will get stretch marks. And when you get that, it's much harder to get the elasticity of your skin back to where it needs to be if you've been that for any length of time. Yeah. Now, I will say this. If you're eating for aesthetic bodybuilding, from my experience, you are not going to get fat like that. It's not going to be that much of a challenge because you're watching your total daily energy intake, or your TDE. You're going to use a TDEE calculator. Understand that it all comes down to calories and then macros. Calories first, macros second. And the reason macros come second is, believe it or not, your body can convert pretty much anything except carbohydrates into proteins or fats. It does it through a process called neoglucogenesis in your liver. And that's why you want to minimize alcohol intake, because your liver is so important to your overall health and metabolic value. You want to look like you're 48 when you're 60 or 45 when you're 60. You want to have the same functionality. That's where I specialize, and that's where I do most of my consulting, is with older guys, because believe it or not, the body wears out. You have to do some mitigations for injury. I'm all about injury avoidance, because really, if you adhere to your program, even if it's 2 days a week or 1 day like me now, you can actually have positive results mentally, physically. You can look good naked, all of the things that you want, which will affect your entire life. You can do all of this and avoid injury. One simple injury like a shoulder or labia tear, or labrum tear. Something like that will sideline you for weeks, if not months. You aren't working out. You're getting no benefit. I know guys say, oh yeah, I got my shoulders. I'm just doing legs. That peters out really quick because you got this pain thing going on. But if you would have just not looked for your buddies to see how heavy you were lifting, because none of the girls give a shit how much you're lifting unless you're actually lifting them. They don't care. But you want to show your buddies that you can lift more. When you get to a certain age, you want to lift long, not hard and for your buddy.
And honestly, once you get to
Unless
a
you're
certain
competing.
weight, once you lift a certain weight, you're like, you know what? I really don't want to ever lift this shit again. Like, I mean, it's cool as you're progressing, and it's cool to be able to hit those goals. But those goals are really don't hold any weight in overall fitness.
Yeah.
They're good that, to be able to say that, hey, you're strong. I mean, that's what it can say, but it doesn't really say that you're fit. There's a difference between being fit and strong. There's a lot of fat people that are just fat, that are just naturally strong, but they're not fit. So don't get that confused. But you know what, Phil, you're injured right now. You're dealing with an injury.
Yep.
My question to you is, has being absent from the gym mess with your mood?
Man, I'm going to tell you what, it has messed with literally everything, so obviously I was preparing to compete. I was actually supposed to be competing in the month of October and November for powerlifting. And, I pyramided up and, obviously I found my structural limits on my body, but it definitely did. It has wreaked havoc 100% on my life because, I miss the gym. I miss the gym culture where I train. It's a legacy gym. It's been there almost 40 years. So it's like family. When you walk in there, I mean, you get hugs from people. It's like, it's family, and I miss them a lot. It's a tough thing. And so you go into the gym to see people and it's like, damn, I want to hit it, but you can't, and it definitely does affect your mood. I miss the lifter's high that I get. I miss the discipline aspects of the gym. 100%. I miss it all. I miss the smell of the gym, the dirt of the gym, the filth of the gym. I miss it all. The pain of the gym. I miss every aspect of it. And I wanted to drop a quick gem on what you were saying too, since you brought up my injury. Normally when your muscles are growing too fast, they outgrow your soft tissue, like your tendons and your ligaments. And that's where the injury happens. What happens is the elasticity of those tendons and ligaments are nowhere near prepared to handle the loads that your muscles can move. And that's how you end up with simple injuries like the labrum that Thor was mentioning, or like with me, mine was just a structural injury. It's 680. I was pyramiding to 700 on pull and deadlift, and I popped my SI joint and blew out my L4. And so the thing is you have a structural issue too. So, to understand, just to kind of drop a gem on what Glenn was mentioning, not really necessarily turning into fat, but circling on what Thor said about injury. You can definitely put too much muscle on too fast, and your soft tissue will be nowhere near ready or capable to handle those weights. And I just wanted to put that, I wanted to tee off on that before it got left in the dust.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. I want to share one more thing. And just so you guys know, this is when I had my full physical disability going on from being very sick. I lost all the color of my hair. I got extremely pale. This is a transformation. It was from 47 to 58 years old. And it'll give you an idea of what you can do over a period of time. Think about this if you're a young man out there, or if you're an old man. How old are you, Phil, right now?
I'm 49 years old, sir.
That's fantastic. I mean,
Young man.
Yeah, I mean, we got guys in their 60s. I'm soon to be 60. And they got guys that are just in their 40s. This is for everybody, guys. Take a look at this one. I don't like to show this often. I really don't. Because when you see me at 47 years old, I don't think there's a man on this panel right now that doesn't look younger and more fit. And yet, just 5 years before, I was playing BJJ as a 2-stripe purple belt and fit as I could be. So one injury or disease can mess with you. So I'll share this with you. This is the one. Take a look. It almost doesn't look like the same guy. So why do I show this?
Yeah, who is that noodle?
Well, that's a 47-year-old PMP wannabe executive that wasn't paying attention. And I will tell you this. I see somebody like Andrew Cobra Tate on there saying, keep doing your thing, Thor. Don't know who that is, but I have exchanged texts with Andrew Tate. So whoever it is, thank you very much. And if it is you, Andrew, thank you. Appreciate that. So anyway, I want to encourage you guys that everything is possible. Listen to what the men today are sharing with you. And you could be on an amazing journey. How about we talked about weight training, right? Aesthetic bodybuilding, injury avoidance. This applies to everything. Men are built for combat. I want to move into a combat sports, and I want to get someone with years of experience in the boxing ring. I'd like to shift to Mark Daniels and hear his background and experience on this topic. Mark Daniels, Mark Inspiration. Can you come up and give us your take on all of this? Sure, appreciate you.
Yeah, I think it's been glad to be here. I enjoyed your monologue, Thor. That was really inspirational, as a matter of fact.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it was. And you showed those photos too. Anybody can come back from where they are. I think too many times people, they get to be 30, 40, 50, especially after 50, and they think it's too late or they can't change. But as you showed there with the photos, it's possible to come back from almost like the Walking Dead to a vigorous, healthy individual. For me, since I've been 20, I've been working out. When I was young, I always had a pot belly, so I dreamed of having a six-pack, which I have today at 62. But more than that, when I started exercise, I started the boxing first because I liked to fight when I was younger and had a bar fight and turned into knives and guns, and one fellow almost got killed and I got in trouble with the law. So I thought maybe I would try to turn it into something constructive. So I started boxing. And I have to tell you that I really believe that probably kept me out of jail in my 20s because, as you men know, and our viewers probably know, usually during your 20s can be a pretty tumultuous, that's not correct, a hard time. So it really kept those testosterone levels, I'd say, under control. I was able to use that energy and maybe that rage or anger that some of us have, which I had, and turn it into something constructive and use it in the ring. But it changed my whole outlook as far as it kept me out of a lot of trouble out on the street, because when you're in there sparring, just like Phil talked about being in the gym, there's something about that takes on a life of its own within your life. And these things on the outside, maybe these small challenges from people or even figures of authority, you don't really care because you have nothing to prove. Because every time you go to that gym, whether it's lifting an extremely heavy weight or sparring with someone who you don't want to because you know he's going to kick your ass as you learn, it takes that away from you having to feel like you got to show anybody anything, because you're proving to yourself every time. And that endeavors to manifest itself in other aspects of life also, as well in business, your relationships with women, and your relationships with everyone, because your whole life consists of relationships. And if you have a good relationship and confidence in yourself, that transcends to other relationships in your life, your business, everything. So for me, like I said, I believe we're all physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental beings, and we have to address every aspect of that. And working out, whether it be contact sports, in the gym, lifting weights, that really addresses all those aspects. Because as you guys know, there's times when you're in the gym or running or sparring or whatever it is that you have to push yourself beyond what you think you're capable of. And this increases and strengthens your character and your integrity in yourself and the belief that you have in yourself, as well as in your fellow human being, in the capabilities we all have within us. When we push ourselves beyond our limits, it expands us as well as people around us, because we're doing something we thought wasn't possible before. So it really is such a great aspect in life that so many people miss out on. And it's not just that they deny themselves the physical appearance or the health of it, it's all the other enhancing qualities it does in the mental, emotional, and spiritual, how do I say, parts of your life. There's just so much to fitness besides just the physical body.
It
And I
makes you
think
durable too. It really
yeah,
does.
it just makes all the difference in the world. And like you guys, I've had many injuries in my life. I'm still trying to get over a neck injury that I had back. It was probably from boxing. I had whiplash, and I hurt it last year working. And I'll share one little example. I got up yesterday morning, and I was in a lot of pain because I started doing some new exercises. I couldn't hardly move my neck. And we talk about as men doing what we need to do, not what we feel like doing. So I'm sitting on the edge of the bed, and I'm thinking, man, I'm going to call my client and tell him I can't make it today. I could barely move my neck. I thought, well, I'm going to feel better if I go. So long story short, I got up, I went, and, I felt like it's times like that where sometimes you think death might be okay. Seriously, this crosses your mind. Not that you're thinking about committing suicide, but it's just, you're in a lot of pain, and it's just a struggle. And it's been going on for quite some time. But I got up, I went, and then that evening, I talked myself into going out and running. I started running again about 3 months ago after a back injury that kept me off for probably about 3 years. Went out, and my boys went with me, and one of my boys and I finished up the whole run. We just cruised the last mile, and I got done. I'll tell you what, honestly, I'm still high from that. So this is an experience and a joy that you don't get from anything else. And one of you guys mentioned this earlier. When you push yourself to work out, when you don't feel like, you said it, Thor, those are the times where that is a memory that there's nothing to compare to the richness of that memory that I have from last night when my son Claude and I finished that last mile and a half after we ran about a mile. We were just, it was the night, the rhythm, and everything. So these are things you can't get from drugs, alcohol, or women, or anything that a man can get from working out and exercising, whether it be in the gym, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, boxing, UFC, whatever. So I encourage all men to step into that part of their life and experience that warrior within them.
So expound upon that, if you would, Mark, just briefly, because here's what I love that story that you talk about, because just doing something physical sets gears in motion inside of your mind that starts to free you. Even if it's something small, don't make the mistake though of just picking something recreationally. Make something focused, such as a combat sport. You have been in a combat sport. Tell me about boxing and why that and the expression of violence is so important. Mark, what did it do to your mentality knowing that you could handle yourself?
Well, when I was young, I got bullied like all of us do. And contrary to what a lot of people say, I think it was good for me. It caused me to want to stand up and be a man, really. My dad he'd tell me, oh, pick up a big stick and knock the hell out of him, but that didn't work. So I learned how to fight. And what that did for me, I got the tough guy, the local tough guy, and him and I would have a few drinks, and then we'd spar without gloves, and he'd knock me down or hurt me. And eventually I was able to stand up for myself, because if you can't stand up against a bully or someone who's picking on you, there's a humiliation that, just like I was talking about the joy that I got from last night, some of the joy and the feelings I've got from fighting, whether I won or not, there's something about standing up for yourself that the opposite of that is, if you don't, there's a humiliation you feel, and it knocks down your self-esteem to a low bottom, I would have to say. Mm-hmm. Even if you stand up and the guy beats you, you still feel better than if you back down. There's something about being a man when you dishonor yourself when you back down from somebody. Now, there's a time to fight and a time to walk away. Of course, that's true. But when there's a time to fight and you know it within yourself and you don't do it, I mean, we as a nation don't back down. But many times we're taught, society teaches us to back down, to not stand up for ourselves, to allow a higher authority to do that. But the higher authority is not always there. But when you do, this helps you to stand up in all areas of your life. Let's say you're working for someone. You have a jerk boss. I've experienced this years ago. I had a guy who was working for a carpenter. And this is a good example of what you asked me. And he was talking to me like a dog. I finally told him, I said, look, I said, I'll do whatever you want me to. I said, if you ask me respectfully, otherwise I will not do anything. But I had to be willing to be fired or be willing to have him come and get in my face. But that was it. After that, he talked to me with respect and we got along just fine. As a man, you sometimes have to demand respect, not by taking physical action or force, but by being willing to do that. And when you can fight, and you know you can fight, at any time, you know you can stand up. I can stand up to anybody. I might get my ass kicked, and I have had my ass handed to me before. But I still stood up, and I felt better after the beating than I would have had I walked away and felt like a puss, for lack of a better way to say it.
But that makes all the difference, because actually when you have that mentality, and we're going to get to Laurent in a minute, and he's got some combat training experience as well. It makes all the difference, because that mentality is the free mind mentality. You're not the slave mind. You're not going to capitulate. That in and of itself will diffuse probably 90% of all those interactions when that is sitting in your mind. It's those 10% that don't know, that don't have that. And they just watch what they had on TV, and they stomped up and down on the ground, and they've thrown papers on the ground and cups. They're the ones that get into trouble when that happens. So
Yeah, can I tee off that real quick before we move on, Thor?
yeah.
What is really important about understanding our physical violence and our combat sports is that it teaches you a discipline. Now, yes, you're going to learn how to throw a proper punch. You're going to learn defensive tactics, and that's great. But what you really learn through, sparring and through actually fighting, what you really learn is the measure of violence you have to, give out to push this threat away. And see, not a lot of people, not a lot of men these days understand that. When they get into fights, they see red and they just go balls to the wall. They end up injuring themselves. They end up doing more damage to the person that they're having a fight with in the first place. But when you master violence, when you understand your level of expertise or skill set in this, arena, that you know how to apply the proper amount of violence to minimize the threat without going overboard,
Absolutely. We're gonna get an episode specific on that with a
Exactly.
special guest for sure. I mean, that is a super important part about this. You can train with your physical exercise to understand those qualities in combat sports for sure. And I really appreciate that mentality, because it is freeing for a man. I want to go ahead and get into, although a lot of us do the aesthetic bodybuilding weight resistance training because it's extremely effective. I want to shout out the family alpha. Zach, thanks, man. Not fighting by choice versus inability is a very big difference. Strong men make the choice to be peaceful, and weak men have no choice. It reminds me, Zach, of a saying that comes from Sun Tzu. What exactly was it? It says when you are weak, show strength. When you are strong, only then may you reveal some weakness.
I like that. It makes me think, when we talk about this, a lion is very, very powerful. You don't want to mess with a lion, but a lion isn't always aggressive. So you need to have the skills to be aggressive and to fight, but you don't need to show it all the time.
Excellent. Good point, Huds. Well, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get moved on. I'm going to take a quick plug here, guys. I want to direct everybody to subscribe to the channel now. I want you to subscribe. What am I talking about, Thor? Well, I'm going to show you right now. I want you guys to subscribe to our new network channel. What's the new network channel, Thor? Well, this is it. It's the DragonShip. We are streaming live to the DragonShip channel today for the first time. Every one of these panel members will be streaming exclusive content to the DragonShip. It's brand new. It's a place where we're going to concentrate all of our efforts so that all of you can get the content that you want from men that have been in this game of life for decades. There's hundreds of years sitting right here. You guys want stuff like this? You want to learn from guys that have been there, not from somebody that read a book that's rather young and trying to sell you something. Although we do sell stuff, we sell you the secrets to success, and we do it mostly for free. However, we do offer added value here. We're not idiots. Of course, we got to keep this thing running. Go over and subscribe if you would right now to the DragonShip. And of course, RP Thor on Rumble would be greatly appreciated, guys. So with that, let's move on to halfway around the world and bring up our good friend from Tokyo, Laurent, who has, I believe, some exercise story in his history with fitness. I've seen some pictures right there, and Kyushin and Karate. That's no joke, man. You gotta go through some rites of passage there, which is kind of linked to physical exercise every time you engage. We are meant to move. Human males are combat models. Laurent, tell us your story. Why is it important?
Today I turned 52. So
Damn, you're an old bastard.
this is a thank you. Yeah, I got a couple of stories about fighting. So Kyokushin Kai Karate is the most respected karate in Japan. Is full contact and no protection, and it's very chivalrous. So I learned really the chivalry the Japanese way. It's very martial, it's very brutal, but it's very chivalrous at the same time. And once I was in Rio de Janeiro, it was in 2002. I was with then my fiance, tall, black, beautiful Brazilian chick, and she was on the cover of some fashion magazine and so on and so forth. She was the porta-bandera of samba school, and we were rehearsing in the Sambodromo, like, you know, when you see all the processions of all the carnaval. And then 3 guys showed up, and because she was very beautiful, they said, "Oh, you're a gringo, and you're with our girls. You pick up our girls, blah blah blah." I'm like, "Okay, guys," and I could see by the way they moved that they were fighters. They were capoeirista. Capoeira is a Brazilian martial art, and they were getting more and more and more and more aggressive. So I said, "Indaya, go back." And then I look at the guys and say, "Hey guys, I know what you're up to. I know that we're gonna fight. I know that tomorrow I might wake up in the hospital, but one of you will be with me, and one of you will be in pain. I promise you." And then just the assurance of saying this, and then I offered a way out, like, "However, if you want to, how about we have a beer? Because I know that you're good fighters." So I showed that I was not afraid of fighting, not afraid of getting my ass whooped and wake up in a hospital. I would drag one with me, but at the same time, offer them a peaceful way out. And the guy's like, "Wait a minute. So obviously this guy is a fighter. Obviously this is not going to be pretty. Let's go for the cerveja bengelata." Fast forward, we became best buddies overnight. So much so that actually the girl came back and said, "Hey, listen, your best friends." Like, they became her bodyguard to protect us. Say, "Hey, can you put a lid on those guys? Like, I can't even go to take to the bathroom." Their mission was to protect her throughout the night. And this is a tip that really served me. Like, the idea there is, don't something to echo what Mark said before. Don't show that you're afraid. If you know how to fight, you're gonna get hurt, but at least people can smell it when you're faking it or not.
Yeah.
And they can smell, like, this is a trained fighter. I know what I'm going to get into. And but at the same time, showing that you're not afraid of doing it, but offering them a respectful way out. So that, hey, you know what? I didn't know you 5 minutes ago. You didn't know me. How about we go for a beer?
Well, it's really interesting. You know, I what a great point, Laurent, because, you know, I was often told by Odin, you know, always leave a man his dignity, you know, leave him a way out. You get a cornered dog and you're in big trouble. You know, that's,
you know,
amazing.
it's funny, like you mentioned that, like, because everybody that, when I was a young whippersnapper, my earlier years, and I was beating people up like Mark.
What do you mean earlier years? Look at you, kid.
Well, I'm not junior, okay?
Baby phase.
But
that beard being gone just blows me away, man.
And thank you, Danny Arnold. Thank you, Danny Arnold, for the respect.
What I'm trying to say is that the people that actually that fought me, even though they lost, I still respected them. Like, I had more respect for them after they fought me than I did before we fought. And it wasn't because, oh, they got beat up and I won. It's the fact that whatever the issue was, we now have a common thing, was that we both know that we will stand up for what we believe or what we stand for, even if that means we're going to war with somebody. And it's there's a level of fighting is so good for young men. Like, I don't know why they have punished it for, for so many years. I remember when, we were in gym class, and if there was a kid that, you had a problem with, my gym coach would tell us to go put the gloves on and give us 30 seconds. And that was it. You got 30 seconds and you settled whatever you had to settle. But we don't do that anymore. We're teaching boys to use their words. So we are dumbing them down to not be fit for violence.
Well,
That
that's
their
interesting.
fitness level is not there.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that, because on the episode we're going to do on that, I think it's critical to note there is a lot of respect that can be done from sport combat, but it is not the same of life as a life and death struggle. You need to respect your enemy, but you also must be prepared for the real aspects of violence, which most people don't really understand what that is. And it's pretty freaking horrifying what men can do and what they're capable of doing, what they're built to do.
And what I was getting at was, like, how we are dumbing them down from, being capable of understanding violence. We're also dumbing them down in the same way not to be physically fit to do like daily jobs, daily tasks, because the same drive that you have to go out there and to be a fighter, or to be able to, know how to fight, is the same drive that you have to go in there and lift weights, or to get, stay healthy. They say that's toxic. Being the gym bro, like Phil, is toxic, and that guys are getting turned off from, wanting to work out, whatever, and they're accepting this dad bod because they're being told it's toxic.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, it's even in
Where
dated
does that even come
fitness
from?
spaces. Well, boy, that's a good question. It's
What?
Yeah. Like, where does that even come from? Why are we pushing that message?
Well, it's not. Well, it really kind of came out in 2017, 2018, when they were pushing the APA. And they were talking about guys that are going to the gym to be competing with the next guy. They want to lift more than them, and that competitiveness is toxic, a toxic trait.
It came out before that, though. Does anybody remember Planet Fitness when they came out? It was
Oh, yeah.
The lunk alarm.
Okay, I've been banished from all Planet Fitnesses, so
let's get into that when we get into the details. Let's keep the flow, because we want to hit all the guys with their stories, and then let's get into the details of what we actually do. And because each of us are quite different. But yeah, definitely keep in mind that this invaded fitness space too, saying that what we do to maintain our fitness as men is somewhat toxic. But then again, go and watch, like in my monologue, watch any Fresh and Fit After Dark and see what the women actually are attracted to. So let's continue on with this our panel members introduction. I want to go to Raith. Raith has a very interesting background. He has lived the lives that many men would only dream of, and I want to hear from him about his fitness journey and what he's done throughout the years. Raith, welcome, man. I can't wait to hear from you. Oh, you're muted, brother.
Sorry about that. I don't know that I have a fitness journey. I just always kept it in shape in order to do the things I wanted to do.
But that's what we're talking about. You kept yourself in shape. You didn't let yourself get out of hand. Tell us about that.
Well, I mean, I think I started, back in the 70s with the same martial art Laurence in. When it was brought over to the U.S., I achieved a black belt in that. And I think I went into Hakaru Aikijitsu, and I got a black belt in that. And then I studied Kempo under Ed Parker's group, and I'm a 4th degree black belt in that. And then I decided I wanted to do rock climbing, skydiving, scuba diving. I did all that. And it's just maintaining enough fitness there in order to accomplish the things I wanted to participate in and push myself. I think it was, for me, it wasn't the idea that I had to prepare for violence. It was the idea I had to prepare for the challenges I give myself. Now, and I've been violent, don't get me wrong. I mean, I've been stabbed 4 times. So, that violence is, you have to understand, violence is going to happen. And if you put yourself in certain situations, it's going to happen to you. And so, from a standpoint, I lift weights, I walk. I used to run. I can't run anymore. My knees are about shot from being old age, I guess. But I still get up and walk every morning. And I try to lift a couple times a week. Getting over COVID, I've put on weight since I've had COVID the last time. But I'm, when we talk about testosterone stuff, I just recently started testosterone therapy because up until about 4 or 5 months ago, my testosterone was always up over 1,000. So it's just maintaining the level of fitness so that you can do the things you want to do.
No, that's super important. We're going to get into that at the end of this topic on the components for fitness, regardless of the actual exercise portion. I mean, look at you. You're an Army of One. You did these things. That qualifies for exactly what we're talking about here in November. Those details and that adherence to some form of action was what my monologue was all about. It's more important that you do, not that you get wrapped up in the ideology that powerlifting is the best, Kempo is the best, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is the best, Thai boxing is the best. It's more that you do than that you get wrapped up into that ideology. Remember what I said about exercise? You guys, if you're starting out and you're listening to this, remember exercise. Get the difference between recreation is not exercise. Exercise needs to be primarily focused. Like when you're doing your combat sport, you're primarily focused on what's at hand. Well, you might have fun at it. Realize that if you get really wrapped up into the recreation, you can end up in kind of a CrossFit situation where it's almost religious in nature. Now, there is some very motivating factors about that. I recognize that, but there's also high injury rates and high disadvantages to getting there. This is something that's very personal for each individual. You should do something every day to keep this earth suit functional for as long as possible. And part of it is maintaining those hormones. And I have a great panel here to talk about that as you age. And here you are, Raith, at 62?
62, 60, soon to be 63.
Yep, and I'm soon to be 60. So, guys, we started really late in life learning about hormones because the science was rather suppressed, but it is here now. And we will talk about this because as a young man, it's something you must keep that card like Huds. You got to keep this card in the back of your pocket because it affects everything in your core. You operate from instincts, emotions, to feelings, right up to your rational brain. And without the proper hormone balance, you won't even know that you got this lateral circular thinking that's going on. So you must keep this package together to keep your earth suit in tip-top performing condition. So thank you, Raith. And we're going to get into those details if you don't mind. Did we hit everything you wanted to?
Yeah. I mean,
great.
The only thing I would say is, I think, and I've been in violent jobs. I mean, I was a cop and I was in the military and, but I've never, in a sense, because I've been in violent jobs, I've always prepared for violence, but it wasn't preparing for violence in the sense to seek violence. It was just, be prepared, be physically capable of surviving. Like I said, I've been stabbed 4 times and, it's all about, for me, it's always been about setting challenges for myself. And, when I was in the military, when I was a cop, it was about being fit enough to support the other people that relied on me in the job, but also being able to support, and protect my family. So that's what's always been important to me, not whether I'm standing on a bodybuilding stage, and I don't fault anybody for that. Glenn, you look good. But for me, like I said, it was where's my place in the world and how can I protect the people that are around me and how can I fulfill my obligation to the people that I pledge my allegiance to.
But here's the thing, Raith. Here's what's really, really cool about what you just said, because it doesn't have to mean that you have the bodybuilding physique. Because here's the thing. Us guys, we want to be perfectly optimal and it is attractive. But in the female's eyes, just having a fit body and being confidently able to protect yourself and those around you is really the majority of women's desire. Ultimately, they all want that. They all want the Chris Hemsworth look, but in reality, just that confidence and the fact that you're not a fatso and you're capable physically is really all that matters. You know, it's an amazing thing. It's that type of fitness that's so personal. You don't have to be a bodybuilder, but you have to have a fit mentality and you have to have a serviceable earth suit or body to accomplish that goal. And that is enough. That is enough not only to succeed, but to succeed in spades, not only with women, but in life in general. You're ready to do hard labor. You can do hard labor. You can do whatever it takes. You have inner strength when you have that. In
Talking
spades.
I've never had the body type to be I don't know, like look like Glenn. I'm pretty barrel chested, and my waist and my chest there's taper there, but it's not a taper that I can't get that perfect V. No matter how much I starve myself or anything else, I just have.
All you got to do is grow your back. If it's an optical illusion,
it is.
All right, grow your back up.
I want to talk about this though, because this is really important. And I saw what Zach had posted about his story here on Instagram a little bit ago. Back in 2018, his son fell when they were fishing. He had told his son, don't go too far. You're going to slip. And when he went to cast a reel, he slipped. And he has expressed, and I mean, it's a really, really interesting story. If you guys go to like Instagram, you can actually watch it. But he's instilling in his son, hey, you need to have the base physical fitness so that you're able to, survive certain situations. And because he had instilled that, his son was able to grab a rock and pull himself up when Zach jumped into the water to save him and to help him. So it really is so important, and you never know when you need to have that physical fitness so that you can survive.
Yeah, I want to acknowledge that too, Zach. We would love to have you as an occasional panel member on the DragonShip. I think your input would be extremely valuable. The invitation is open, brother.
Or save somebody else's life or protect somebody else. Huds talking about that too. I mean, that the people that are around you to be able to be strong enough to do what needs to be done in an emergency situation.
I know Zach very, 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 very personally. And that story, I can tell you a little bit about that real quick. And so some of the situation was, he looked at his son in the water and he did not hesitate. We're talking a cliff. Okay. This dude jumped off a cliff, grabbed his child out of that water, had his son grab a hold of him, and he scaled that cliff with moss, sea moss, all that crap all over it, and scaled his way back up to the top. It was a definite life or death situation for that man and his son. He looked at and I'll never forget the way he told the story to me. He's like, hey man, I locked eyes with my boy. He calls him the boyo because I don't really want to plug his name in here, but he locked eyes with the boyo, and his son, the way he worded it to me, he said it was like his son almost acknowledged and knew that he was coming, and there was zero hesitation. And see, that's the point, right? That's the whole thing about being strong and capable is you have to be able to, you don't know when your number is going to be called. Your number is going to be called. It's like hitting the roulette wheel, man. Eventually your number is going to hit. And so you can be fat, slobby, and lazy and incapable, and somebody in your tribe or somebody in your realm is in trouble, and you aren't going to be able to do anything but watch it go down. Or you can make that choice and exercise some discipline, kind of like what Glenn was talking about in his situation when that guy told him, hey man, you'll never make it to where I'm at. And he's like, okay, like hold my protein shake instead of my beer at that point, I think, for Glenn. But the thing is you have to be capable. okay, to be able to look at that situation and go, you know, I am capable of handling this situation, and I'm going to handle this situation because, once again, that's his son. And his son is relying on him for safety and security and protection. That's instinctual. But if you're fat and disgusting, you're never going to be able to do that. You're going to get your butt in the water with your boy, and two things are going to happen. You're going to try and save your son, and your son's either going to get on you and he's going to drown you and then himself drown, or you're going to be stuck down at the bottom of that cliff. You know, you have to be able to overcome these things in your life, because everybody walks through this life and says, oh, it's not going to happen to me. Like, oh, you know, tomorrow I can do this tomorrow. I can do that tomorrow. Like there's no end to it. But let me tell you something. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, the things that Thor's been going through as of late, he can tell you, man, somebody in his realm, her number was pulled and there it is. You know what I mean? There is no if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen. And that's what you have to have in your mind. You have to understand that you have to be strong, not only emotionally, but physically capable to protect those in your tribe. If you're a man and you have a tribe under you, period.
And you know, I want to tee off on that a little bit.
Hey, I just dropped the StreamYard link, Phil, as I said before, to Zach, if he wants to jump in and have a little chat about why fitness is so important, he's welcome to do so. I did it on yours. I wanted to let you know. Go ahead, Glenn.
Well, I was going to tee off on is that what Phil was saying, that it takes confidence to do crazy things sometimes. When it's a life or when it's a split hair decision, you don't really got a whole lot of time to think about it. It takes confidence to take that leap. When I was a corrections officer, and Raith, it looked good on the uniform too when you have those muscles, underneath the uniform. But when I was a corrections officer, there were times that there was instances in the prison that I literally saw other officers just freeze and not respond. And part of that, in my mind, the way I look at it is they're probably like, I know I need to go in there, but I don't think I could hold my own against that type of violence or that type of, aggression, because they're not physically conditioned or mentally conditioned to go in there and deal with it. So physical fitness really ties into your mental fitness, and you have to understand that both are very important to have, but they feed off of each other. They literally empower both sides. If you're physically fit, you gain constant confidence and you start believing in yourself. You start taking more risks. You start stepping out a little further and you're growing, and that powers your mental fitness to be able to endure tough situations, So these are, when it comes to fitness, you guys, like, I know we're talking about it today, but like, it's something that we need to talk about regularly. This is something that's so foundational for men to be successful in life that it should be like, how you guys go to church on Sunday? Well, you should be going to the gym every day, if you believe in it. But here's the problem with a lot of people. They look at these pictures of me, and I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I never thought at one point I was going to get there. But I showed that it could be done. It can be done. You could go from the fattest slob to Greek god if you want. It just takes the discipline and the time and the effort. But the problem is, not a lot of people want to put the time and invest in it. They don't want to invest in fitness and their health. They want to push it off, like Phil was saying, like, oh, I could sign up to the gym tomorrow, or I could go next week.
Yes, Glenn, that is a very important point, because when we get to the details, let's talk about that specifically, because it's super important. A lot of people get overwhelmed, and we're going to give some solutions to that very next thing. I want to get Huds in here on his journey, because he's had this. He's had the exact issues that we're talking about here, and he's gained some great knowledge on just getting started. And he's had expertise when it comes to the big part of fitness that most people miss, and that is on your diet. And so I'd like him to get started on how you even get started and where he's at today, if you don't mind. Did you
Sure.
catch everything you wanted there, Glenn, on that? Sounds good. Thanks. Let's go ahead and get to Huds and let's hear your experience on why fitness is important. And let's hear your take.
Yes, sir. So for me, you know, Glenn, you're funny sending me that. So I'm not a super like bodybuilder or super ripped like some of the other guys may be on this panel. However, I've gone through my own journey. Now, I used to work at Aldi. It's a grocery store and it's like super efficient. So there's only like maybe 3 people working there at a time. So you have to do everything. Now, I was on my feet working at times 14 hours a day, and I got used to eating a certain amount of calories. Now, when I finished that job, I left that job, my body was used to eating that much and moving that much, but I was not moving anymore. I was now sitting at a desk. And so the pounds started to pile up. And that was the only time in my life that I was over 200 pounds. And to me, it was embarrassing. I knew I needed to do something about it. And I've never been somebody to go to the gym very often, but I needed to learn those types of things. So started going to the gym. I just kept researching different things that I could do. And one of the things that sparked my interest was diet. Okay. I know we've got a lot of different ones out there. We've got keto, you've got carnivore, you can go vegan, vegetarian, Mediterranean. Like there's so many different ways that you can do it. And for me, what I ended up doing was I ended up going keto. And I found that going keto really helped, getting through that like keto flu, as they call it. My mind was never more focused. And that was really something that was magical to me. And it helped me as well, like in that focus in my mind, it helped me as well to set a routine of going every single day, not every single day, but like, 3-4 times a week to the gym. It helped me get into that cycle. And so what I think is really important about fitness is I want to stay lean. Like if you think of like the Brad Pitt in Fight Club, I want to stay that style. I don't want to get big and bulky, but I want to stay that style. And that style is very important because you have the strength and the agility. And I mean, hell, they've shown over time that that's the number one body type that women love. But it was a really interesting journey for me because I had, I bloated up so much. And then like, what do I do? And seeking and searching that information and then trying out different things and having something finally land was like absolutely amazing to me. Now I don't follow strict keto anymore. However, it's kind of like more like mild, but I've found that carbohydrates in my body don't work as well as it may for some other people. So, having a little bit less instead of more, I feel better, I do better. And it's amazing when you put the time into actually learning yourself. That's what I want to say on it.
Oh, it's beautiful, man. I really appreciate that. And your journey too. And then, a lot of times, guys, we have the tendency to fall off the wagon. And we alluded to it a little bit earlier before, and we're going to get to that in the details section on how and why those sort of things would be an issue. And guess who we have to tell his story about fitness now? Guys, it's my pleasure to bring the family alpha, Zach Small, into the stream. Zach, welcome to the DragonShip, brother. Skull.
Hey, long-time listener, first-time speaker. I appreciate you guys having me on the panel.
Oh,
my ears are ringing. You guys are having that story and having that discussion. And man, this is a great topic, for a variety of reasons. It's a message I'm banging frequently. I come at this a lot from the family man side of the house. And one of the things that I love to see is we talk about this, but everything you're talking about, whether you're looking to get strong and look good for women, that applies when you're married too, because guess what? Your wife's a woman, and oftentimes there's more than one personality. So there are actually multiple women you need to be gaming and attracting to you. The other part of that story about my son, that was a real story, man. He wouldn't be here today if I wasn't able to get down there and get us both back out. There was no fucking way I was not coming out of that water without him. So the two of us died or the two of us made it. Fortunately, it played out the way that it did. But the message that you guys are sharing, it's not just for the guys that are looking to be, the meathead bros. It's not just for the combat sport bros. Men are meant to be strong in all of these arenas. And so I'm sitting here listening, just like bobbing my head. And you guys can see me in the chat, getting fired up over here because I was trying to do some work at home. And I'm like, I can't. I just keep tuning in. And so one of the things, just real quick, I started working with Phil. That's when things got really serious in my life. And every other aspect of my life, since working with Phil and getting my body taken care of, my finances have increased. My confidence has increased. I don't remember who it was that was talking about having the confidence to go out there, but I was taking more risk because I knew I could do it. Because if I had the discipline here, I could apply it there. And so it just all transferred and it all worked together. And so they say, the way you do one thing, the way you do all things. Dude, when I really honed in on my fitness, I started to hone in on everything else. And life has been nothing but up. But for those guys that are thinking this doesn't apply to the family men or to the married men, you got it all fucking backwards. It applies more because you have every reason and every incentive given by everybody out there to slow down and put your feet up and be comfortable. But you're the exact man who needs to be going out there. The cornerstone of every society's family. You want a strong country and a strong society? Raise a strong family. The world is with surgical precision looking to break families apart. Strong men are letting that shit happen. They're not letting the darkness of the world dim the light within the home. And so my kids, we're not going through any of the gender issues you see. My wife and I, we're not going through any of that bullshit dad bod thing you see. Everything's working. We're filling our roles. We're happy and we're healthy. And a lot of that is because our health is locked in. That means our bodies are clear and our minds are clear. And I appreciate you guys having me on to say all that.
Oh, that's fantastic. Zach, what a wonderful message. And here's the thing. We have some episodes coming up in late December. It's going to be cuffing season again. And of course, we all have red pill awareness here. But what you have to acknowledge, our listeners, out of all the people that we've consulted, the seminars, all that stuff, all of the men, they want to live the life you're living right now. They really want that woman and they want that family. You're such an addition. I hope you'll come back to us and share that message because that is a whole new level when you have that family. And that's what most men really want. So I'm just really thrilled and I'm quite a fan. Thank you, Zach.
Thanks, brother.
Great story, man. And let me just ask this. How did you get started on that, Phil?
There's a guy I heard of on here. You might have heard his name. He wasn't going by Phil Foster then. He was a fucking troll online looking like CT Fletcher. But I came across him when we started rolling together. And, Phil, he really got me straight. He helped me see like the hows and the whys. And dude, when I bite something, I don't let go.
Shit. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Subscribe to the family. Alpha, we appreciate you coming on here, Zach. And that brings us to Phil Foster, the last guy that's going to give his take on the whole fitness thing. And I have a little bit of a video to share with you before we get started. All right. Does that sound good?
Yeah, let's do that. That's good. That's a good little spot right there.
Do you have it queued or do you want me to go ahead and throw it in there?
I want you to throw it in.
All right, here we go. This is something, I did a little lifting yesterday. And, just one of those.
This is so funny.
You know what?
It's actually good that Zach's in here for this one.
Zach, I think he'll appreciate this too. And I was just, looking at my supplementation and I just had to send a message. Let's go ahead and let's do this. Guys, let's enjoy this message. And here we go.
So, you're a skinny little punk and you want to bust a nut. You haven't been in the gym in weeks and you want some vagine. You better have Phil Foster creatine. Let's go. Oh, and if you want the creatine and you still want even more vagine, you're going to have to add some mass so that you can get some ass. And if you want those pecs to be a popping, those pennies to be a dropping, you better buy some protein from Phil Foster Fitness grass-fed beef. Yeah, she's going to get the D, get a little sausage, some of that grass-fed protein. Let's go.
Okay.
So, you're a skinny little punk.
Let's stop that shit.
Who is that crazy old man?
I don't know. He was in my sauna last night channeling Robert Frank. Shout out to Robert Frank.
Nah, man,
I thought that was so funny that you're hot and sweaty in a sauna and your mind immediately goes to Phil.
Well, birds of a feather, brother.
That's right.
Let's turn it.
He's not saying that when he thinks of Phil, He's thinking of Phil the way you think of Phil, okay? Because I already know you confessed to me that you get hot and heavy when you think about Phil.
Yeah, if I can get rid of these allergies, maybe I could really go ahead and channel Robert Frank. All right. So let's get to Phil Foster. Phil, your fitness journey. And by the way, guys, Phil Foster Fitness produces some incredible supplementation. And we're gonna talk about that, and we're gonna talk about his program. And guys, his program is a pretty amazing program. If you want to get the aesthetics and look pretty sexy when you're naked at any age, let's go ahead and turn it over to Phil Foster. Phil.
First off, what's going on, guys? Thanks for having me once again on the DragonShip. It's good to be here with you guys. All your stories, man, are very inspirational, man, especially the older guys, man, that have been around the block. And Zach, thanks for hopping in, man. It's great to have you here. It's really cool, actually. My first stream was with you, and we've done many streams together since, and it's just great to have you here today, man. And it's kind of interesting, you know, because I'm talking about my brand and, you know, in my fitness journey. And so to kind of give the chat and anybody that might watch this some perspective on me. So let me give it to you hard. Okay. And this is how it is. And so I was married to this woman that really hit her crazy well. Okay. And I wasn't really red pilled until that woman came into my life. And obviously we went through a nasty divorce. I mean, a very, very, very contentious divorce. I picked up alcohol. Before I filed for divorce from that woman, I was relatively lean. I was, you know, I had the aesthetic that Huds was talking about, you know, that most women like, you know, is that lean look, you know, not fat, not jacked, just lean. And I picked up the bourbon, man. Okay. And so, you know, I tried to wash all my problems away with alcohol. And I'm going to tell you what, guys, you know, I was the guy that would go to the liquor store on Thursdays in the afternoon after work, and I'd pick a 175 of 101 Wild Turkey up. And by Sunday night, that 175, that handle was hitting the recycle bin to go to the curb on Monday. And so basically I went from about 170 to 220. I had fatty liver disease. I was high blood pressure, pre-diabetes, all that stuff, right? And basically, you know, threw my whole life away behind that divorce. You know, it really red-pilled me hard. I had a lot of hard truths I had to swallow. You know, I survived that divorce and came out on top. And we can talk about that another time. But I really started to wake up a little bit. I said, you know, there's something off with me, you know. And once I started laying down the alcohol, I went to the gym, got back into the gym and started doing the fitness thing and losing a little bit of weight, but I just wasn't losing it effectively. I wasn't putting muscle on effectively. Now, this was 9 years ago. And so I decided to have my hormone levels checked. So I went to a local men's clinic that just opened up. This is back when hormone replacement therapy was really becoming a thing. And I went in and, you know, we did my blood work, and my labs came back at like 300 and some change. We're talking super low. Okay. So I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. You know, I'm low T. And so I started my low T treatment journey and basically optimized my hormones. And through that, the weight really started to come off because my body started to run optimally. My mind started to run optimally. And, you know, so I started making good gains in the gym. Not only was I making great gains in the gym, I let go of the alcohol and quit drinking all the way. At first it was, you know, I'd still have a few drinks here and there. And then it got to the point to where I realized that alcohol actually weakens you. It's a solvent. Okay. And I learned that word from Plug Ed Lattimore right here. Alcohol is a solvent. It dissolves who you are as a human being. It not only dissolves who you are as a human being, it dissolves everything about you and the things that you want to do. In the end, alcohol wins, period, every time. And so I gave up the booze, man, and quit drinking and really focused on my fitness and, you know, just pounded the weights week in, week out. And I really, really, really loved the gym that I trained at. I really loved the gym culture. Okay. And I was more into the aesthetic bodybuilding type deal that Thor has been mentioning here through this stream. And I continue to get leaner and I continue to get leaner and, you know, develop more and more muscle. And I was like, you know what? This is something that I could really get behind. I really enjoy this. I love the human body. I love how I was able to transform mine. And my girl, Lana at the time, you know, she was like, hey, I want a piece of that. So we optimized her hormones. I started training her. And let me tell you something, we jacked her all the way out. the moral of the story is, through this process, one of my first 21 cons, I was like, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do like a semi prep for that. I'm going to meet some of these guys that I've met online, like Zach back then, and he was Hunter Drew. And I miss Hunter Drew. I love Hunter Drew. I don't care what anybody says. I still love you, Zach. But there's a lot of my peers that most of my peers are online. So I was like, okay, I'm going to meet them face to face. I want to show them what dedicated fitness looks like. Instead of talking it, I want to show them. Okay. And so my first, convention, that I'd met these guys, they were like, dang, dude, you got it going on. And I realized real quick, these guys were interested in having a piece of what I had. And so I started putting together a program, and I had 3 guys that I coached, and those 3 guys were Zach Small, Tex, and Cooper. Okay. And these 3 guys right here, I tested my program on, my training methods and my nutrition strategies, and everybody lost weight. They completely changed their lives. It completely changed their lives. And I was like, you know what? I'm on to something here. I'm going to go to school. So I went to school and became a master trainer. I'm ISSA certified, so I'm internationally recognized. I'm a master trainer in 8 fields. Okay. I'm not just your run-of-the-mill, generic, basic, personal trainer. I'm a nutrition coach, hormone coach, and obviously I understand how the human body works very well now. And so what I did is I said, I really like this. I really like watching these guys win week in, week out. I'm going to start a fitness brand. And so I cooked up this crazy idea. I built a website. Let me tell you something on that website, learning how to build that was, dude, people almost died. We shall not say their names, but anyways, the moral of the story is I built the site, got the certs, and then developed an app for my website at philfosterfitness.com. The custom app has custom training programs. And then I also have a subscription side, and I tested that this year, and, dudes are subscribing and just training themselves, just utilizing the app in the gym. Along with that, I started my protein and, supplementation lines. I got pre-workout creatine, as what you saw in Thor's little video there, grass-fed, and collagen-based proteins, vegan proteins, pre-workouts, all the good stuff. And when I designed that, I decided that I wanted to be the best in the industry. So literally when we were setting this up and designing these products, I decided to be the best. And so we use the best ingredients. And if you look at my labels on my website, there's literally nothing in them. They are super clean. So my fitness journey started as a fat, alcoholic, sick, depressed dude.
Bill, take a look at your, you want to talk about your
yeah, let's do that.
Let's
do that. Yeah.
Tell me where.
Yeah, you just scroll through. I mean, you can go through. I mean, just kind of just roll around and
I'm talking, and I'll scroll through while you're talking. All right, buddy.
Yep. And you just keep scrolling through. Basically, that fat, sick, alcoholic guy into designing and developing this. And so that's what I want you guys in the chat to kind of listen up and hear is it doesn't matter where you are today. You're going to be somewhere different in a year, and you're going to be somewhere different in 5 years. You're going to be somewhere different in 10 years. The choice is yours. So when you come to my site, you can definitely scroll the products and stuff like that. If you would, right there, Thor, if you would click on the hormones right there. One of the big things, if you click right there on book a hormone consult, you can go there. Okay. One of the big things I'm a firm believer in is toxic masculinity. I love masculine dudes. And see, the problem is the society is definitely trained men to be fat, sick, weak, and lazy. And it all has to do with our hormones, what we eat, our environments, everything. So basically what I like to do is I use telemedicine. I have a provider that I work for. And what I do is I get you going in that process. Because see, a lot of guys, they don't have this information. They don't understand what hormone replacement therapy is. They don't understand what hormones can do for them. Guys think, oh, well, if I do testosterone, it's steroids, and it's not. It's you are just optimizing your hormones.
Correct.
Oh, well, if I do hormone replacement therapy, I'm going to have a hard cock all the time. It's more than that. Testosterone literally controls every aspect of your body. Okay, from your brain to your skin. I don't care what it is. It definitely does that. Another thing that when you start optimizing your hormones, and a lot of the guys on the panel are, and some of them aren't, the dynamics in your relationships change because you become more of who you were supposed to be instead of being more like you have been created to be because of society. You start to become more of a free thinker. You start to be able to take the risks, as Zach was mentioning when he was talking a little bit earlier. It's important to understand that if you are anywhere from the age, I've got guys in there that I've helped that are like 22 years old. It's not an age thing. It's a hormone thing. So hormones 100% are in full control of you as a man. And if your hormones are off, I don't care if your T is low and your estrogen's high. I don't care if you have moderately low T, you are not living your best life. And so you have guys like Zach, Thor, and all these other guys on this panel, Mark's Inspiration, Raith. Okay. And you got one piece of the puzzle, but you're not dealing with your hormones. You're not correcting who you are in your biology. You can take all this information, but you're never going to have that drive or that motivation to correct that issue inside of you and move forward. And so that's why I do what I do. Everywhere I go, everybody I talk to, I talk about their hormones, men, women, I don't care. Because I am a firm believer that as a society, we have been intentionally led down this path. Look at the food you eat. If it's packaged, it's wrecking your hormones. Look at the light you're under. If you're not in sunlight, it's wrecking your hormones. Look at the stress you're under. It's wrecking your hormones. Look at the car you drive, the chemicals that were put in that car to make it. It's wrecking your hormones. Look at your carpet in your house. It's wrecking your hormones. I don't care. Everything is designed to weaken you. Okay. And so what happens when guys, if you would go back to the main page, sir, what happens is when guys definitely start to wake up to that and they start becoming optimized, you can go over to the general consults if you want. Basically what happens is you become a free thinker. You start to wake up and you go, whoa, wait a minute here. There's something to this. I also do general consultations. If you have questions on your health, your fitness training, your nutrition, I don't care what it is, man. You can book a call with me and we can work that stuff out. I want guys to have all the information at their fingertips for an affordable number. And that's just it. I got to cover the time and the expense to run things. But the simple fact still remains is I'm extremely reasonable because I want you to win. I don't care who you are. If you are starting at zero, like I did when I was zeroed out because of the divorce and I was a fat, sick alcoholic, and you're trying to do something with your life, I want to be a part of that because your successes and seeing you win are my wins. It's kind of like watching Zach evolve. Once he started training with me, then it was like, okay, I'm going to give up the booze. He gave up the booze. And then he's like, okay, I'm going to optimize my hormones. And he optimized his hormones. This dude's crushing life. It's like we call each other like thoroughbreds. We're running around the track. Somebody's going to win the race sometime. So right here, what you're showing is the subscription-based training. If you would just scroll, basically what it is it runs all through the phone. Your phone, it's got, sets, reps, all of it, weights prescribed, everything based on you. So developing this app was a challenge for me, and it's still in the works. The subscription-based side of training will have more programs dropped in it towards the end of this year, before 2023. I just wanted to test it first to see if people would actually do it. So I only have one program in there right now. But all of my training programs are custom. Okay. So they're not just some run-of-the-mill stuff. I've got 4K videos attached for you to understand how to do the movements. Along with being a subscription-based training, you can be a part of the men's community that I have, and you have full access to me through a Slack channel. And then we do weekly meetings. So it's like you have no reason but to win. If you
Tell
really
me what
want
the
to
Slack channel is. What's that?
Okay, so the men's community is basically we have multiple channels in the Slack community, and it's associated with philfosterfitness.com. And what that does is, we do a weekly weigh-in. I like my guys to weigh in on Fridays, Zach, and anyways, I like guys to weigh in once a week on Fridays for that accountability, that group accountability. Because here's the thing, man, when men start to compete against each other, what happens? Oh, that dude, man, he lost 1.1 pounds. Well, I'm going to go for 1.5 next week, or, I'm going to maintain my weight, or whatever it might be, whatever your goals might be, whether you want to put size on or lose weight. Most of the men that I have in my community are trying to lose weight. Okay. So one of my biggest successes, and I don't know if he's in the chat or not, but it's MIB007. He lost 86.5 pounds in 16 months. Okay.
Wow.
Working with me. And
That's
so
crazy.
basically, yeah, he literally lost a small human being off his body. And when I first met him, I met him at the CME conference in Las Vegas that Donovan Sharp had put on. And he heard me speak there at that conference. And he said, "Hey, man, I'm going to work with you." And I said, "Okay, there's no quitting." And he literally knocked that much weight off in 16 and a half months. So in a year and a half, that man changed his life forever. He changed his job. He changed everything about who he was. And so that's the beautiful thing about the men's community, because our weekly calls are on Sundays. And what I like to do is we get together for an hour and we talk about whether if it's a diet situation, if it's your training situation, or what's going on in your life. Because here's the thing. Once again, to see guys win and to see men become stronger is a win for me. That is the reward. And that's why I set this business up. This is why I do what I do now. I'm also a contractor. I build and own construction businesses here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I'm looking to literally go full-time into training and nutrition 100%. I am literally trying and attempting to leverage my position in this world towards this, because I have more fulfillment than I do. I've built everything I possibly can. This is like the next level for me. And so when you think about your fitness needs or your training needs, it's interesting that a lot of guys think that they can do this thing on their own, and they're missing a key piece of the puzzle. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, okay, well, their training's on point, but their nutrition isn't, or their nutrition's on point, but their training isn't, or their mindset is on point, but the training and nutrition are on point. It's amazing to me when people really start to be dialed in and homed in how effective it can be at changing who you are as a man. And that's the whole point, right? That's the whole point. That's the whole reason why the DragonShip is here. That's the whole reason why Zach has his men's community, the Fraternity of Excellence. That's why Raith does what he does. That's why everybody on this panel does what they do, is to improve their fellow man. And that's the whole point of this whole thing. If you're consuming the content, but you're not applying what you're learning in that content, then you're not winning. You're not living your best life. And it's important to understand that that's what it's all about in the end. You could literally wake up tomorrow and not wake up at all. Don't waste any more time. And see, so for me, I was older, man. I was 39 years old when I really started applying myself and really started changing my life and said, I don't need to be an alcoholic anymore. I don't need to smoke grass anymore. I don't need to have these kind of relationships in my life anymore. And through doing that, I've met men like Zach. Like Zach is like he's like family to me. You know what I mean? Like if his house burned tonight and he texted me in the morning, I would literally get the dump trailer, the Bobcat, all the equipment, and my men would be there rebuilding his home within a week.
It's an amazing brotherhood when you share fitness.
Yeah, and so it all started with fitness and his men's community and his 31 DTM program. If you guys haven't, I'm going to plug him on that stuff, because here's the thing. It doesn't matter if you are lacking anywhere in your life and you start with fitness. If you just start with that one aspect, you're applying all this red pill knowledge that you're learning because you've went through that trauma, but you're still fat and sick. It's not going to work. If you're getting that mindset or that finance coaching from a guy like Laurent, but you're fat and sick, nobody's going to take you seriously in those boardrooms. If you're looking to meet more women and you hook up with Huds and he's your dating coach, but you're fat and sick, it's not going to work. You're going to get laughed at. I don't know, man. He might have some tricks up his sleeve. But
I do have a lot of tricks, but
yeah, the big thing is like becomingdurable.com with Thor. But it always comes up that your fitness is pinnacle. And it's no mystery in the red pill community that they say that, money, muscles, and game, but you have to start with fitness. You have to develop that discipline. You have to go and face your adversities in your mind. It's kind of like what Glenn was talking about earlier, man. You want to lift big weights. That's fine, man. If you want to see, the thing is most guys are so limited in their minds. They do not literally understand that they can do anything they put their mind to. Your mind is so powerful, but you're asleep. You're comforted. You're lost in the forest, man. And guys like you see on this panel right here are over here showing you, hey, we're over here on the path. Come over here. Come over here. Try it like this just one time. And it's like, oh, well, I got to put some skin in the game. I got to pay that dude. Yeah, he's a coach. And that leads me to this point that my girl put up here. She says, everybody needs a coach. I got a coach. Zach has been my coach. He's been my mental coach. He's been my spiritual coach. He's guided me on a lot of hard decisions in my friggin' life. Thor, you've been my coach.
Likewise, brother. You know, it's an amazing, amazing journey that you've been through. I'm so proud to have you on board the DragonShip. You said some interesting things I just want to touch on. The hormone balancing is so important, guys, for men. And I will say this for women too. The testosterone has the same effects in women. It's a balance, of course. But why do you think we have a 70% overweight society right now? For many reasons. I personally believe it's been done on purpose to us. Why do you think men and women are against each other right now in the popular culture? It's been done on purpose. It's been done on purpose to you. The path to freedom and to defeat the slave mind starts with fitness. And some people will look at this and say it's overwhelming. I don't know where to start. And that's where we're going to segue into the very next part of our show today is how does a guy that's never done this or has done this, fell off the wagon, how does he get started with a fitness journey that can last a lifetime? Phil, you just talked about this. I want to jump to you, and I want to have anybody else that wants to jump into this and start giving actual details, because here's my thought on it. Doesn't matter. You don't need a gym. You don't need anything. You actually have on this YouTube channel right here a little 6-part video thing that's no time, no gym, no problem. All you need is 3 days a week at 45 minutes a pop. Who cannot spare that? And if you can't spare that, I'll tell you this, you can spare 20 minutes a day. That's just maybe one break at work.
Yeah.
And you can start.
Yeah.
Go check it out on RP Thor. Check out that playlist on No Gym, No Time, No Problem. And you can get started with aesthetic weight training.
Yeah.
Now, Phil, what do you think? What do you think? Where are you going to tell these guys get started? Is get a coach if you're really struggling, but what is the biggest thing that happens? People jump into this, Phil. They get into it for about 12 weeks, either sustain an injury. I mean, we see this at the gyms all the time, right? What does that January thing look like? I'm going to start on January 1st. When you set up a date for you to get started, you're setting yourself up for failure because you've already set that slave mentality mind. I'm doing it here instead of right now. You realize as soon as I stop this stream, I could stop, walk over there and do something.
Yeah.
That is my number one thing. If you're looking at this right now, as soon as this is over, do something immediately. Don't wait till the first of the year, because generally that happens. You get some results. It looks pretty good. And then you push a little further, you get hurt, or you're not eating correctly and you're going through the motions. You didn't get the coaching in order to maximize the efficiency of the time that you're in there. And it's too much time. You're tired, and it just fizzles right out. And here we are, late February, and Phil and I and Glenn have the gyms to ourselves.
Love it, but I don't love it.
No, really. You know what? I love the gym during this time of year. I just got to tell you, Thanksgiving is like the best day to go to the gym. Nobody's there. They're all getting fat.
Yeah, that's 100%. So how does a guy get started in fitness? It's real simple. You go you go into your bathroom and you take all your clothes off and you look at yourself in the mirror and you jump up and down. If you have titties that bounce up and down, if you have fat hanging off your body that flies around and you don't lift weights or you don't go to the gym, it's time. So that's the first step. Step number two, and that's just being raw and honest, guys. I know you guys chuckle, Glenn, you chuckling, but I had to do that myself.
No, I know. I've done it before too. You have to look at yourself and ask yourself, would you fuck you? You know?
There it is.
Wait, Phil, you used to have titties?
Oh man, dude, when I was 230, dude, I had some man cans. That liquor had me down, bro. I'm going to be honest with you. So that's the first step, is acknowledging that you're sick, fat, and overweight. Accept it. That's who you are, man. Number two, Thor's theory of just do something. I agree with that to a point, but I want you to commit to a gym. Get on your phone. You have it in your hand right now. Get on your phone and look at it and just Google local gyms close to me. Boom. It's going to propagate a list of gyms. Go check them all out. If you've never been to the gym before, just go walk the gyms. That's the first step. Find one that you like the vibe with. You like the people that look good. The people that are in there. Okay, so then you pick your gym and you become a member of that gym. You now have skin in the game to change who you are as a man, or if you're a woman watching this. The next thing I want you to do is, I don't care if you're just starting in fitness, commit 100% to yourself, looking yourself in the mirror. I will do this at least 5 days a week for the first 30 days, 5 days a week. Okay. And just show up. Okay. Just show up. Get your butt in the gym every day. You don't need the latest.
That's a great point. I need to, because I'm not like you. I'm not like a lot of other guys here where I don't go very often, but to get that cycle rolling, even if you just go for 20 minutes, just make sure you're doing it those 5 days.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Showing up is half the battle, you guys.
Man, it is. Do you think I want to lift weights all the time? Sometimes I'm like, fuck, I don't want to do this. And my coach looks at me and says, get your ass on that bar.
Correct. I mean,
quit being a bitch.
And here's the thing.
Embrace the
weight
suck.
isn't your only answer, guys. Go to a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym, check out the check mat, check out 10th Planet. Here's why. You're going to find disciplined men. They're going to eventually accept you into their brotherhood.
That's
you
right.
will have your own DragonShip, and you will get healthy and you will get fit along the way. So just because we're using aesthetic weight training as the example, it's just a baseline. There's much, much more here.
There is. But you have to show up, because it takes, in your mind, it's going to take about 30 days for it to become a habit.
Yep.
So for that first 30 days, your life is going to suck. You're going to miss going out to eat. You're going to miss staying up till 3 a.m. You're going to miss all those comforts because you are sacrificing those for you. You're basically, I don't care what it is. Man, I got to be at work at 7. Get your ass to the gym at 5 a.m. That means you need to quit streaming at night and go to bed. You need to really take a look at your whole life and say, okay, this is a big part of this now. I want this change in me. So I have to let go of these other things. And they're going to be, come back to me. They're going to be just like, it's like smelling apple pie coming fresh out of the oven. It's going to be calling your name. The thing is you have to do it no matter what, 5 days a week. Okay. Another thing you might want to consider doing, and it is literally, you don't need any fitness clothes. You just need some gym clothes. You don't have to go out and have the latest, greatest shirts, the latest, greatest gear. You don't need anything. You need some tennies, some sweatpants, and a t-shirt. It does not matter for the first 30 days. Your ass needs to get in there. That's the first thing right there, is that I would say is just get your ass to the gym. And,
hey, you've seen people at the gym, even in jeans, right? You've seen them in like stupid clothes, or even some people who come from work and they wear their work clothes. Yeah. It doesn't fucking matter.
Dude,
as long as you're doing it.
I would show up right after work sometimes in jeans and just get my workout in before I went home, because I knew if I went home after a long day of work,
you wouldn't go
I'm
back
not
out.
have the motivation to go out.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I want to jump to Laurent. He can't stay. I'd like to hear his routine to start and what he's been doing with his routine. He's extremely busy. Laurent runs multiple international businesses. So when I hear a guy that I'm too busy to work out, I'm too busy to be fitness, I'm going to call bullshit on it, and I'm going to refer you to Laurent. He's done it. Laurent, give us your advice.
Phil, what you said resonated with me. Like I've been too friendly with vino. I've been too friendly with the bottle, wine in my case. Today is my 50 seconds, so I'll probably indulge. But what
Happy
I do
birthday.
is I have a pull-up. Thank you very much. I have a pull-up bar machine right next to my computer. So I average 70 pull-ups a week. 70 pull-ups. This week is only 50. But I stand up, go to the restroom, 5-6 pull-ups. I brew a coffee, 5-6 pull-ups. I sit down, 5-6 pull-ups, and so on and so forth. So 70 pull-ups a day is not much. Anybody can do it. If I can do it, anyone can do it.
Yes, sir.
And I do jump rope. So I wanna echo what Zach said before, like when he jumped off the cliff. Something happened to me, like stepping up for my family. I made a promise never to fight when I was in my 20s. Well, the last guy I fought, I sent him in a coma. And the one prior to that, I broke his jaw, I broke his kneecap, and the guy probably will never walk again. So I made a promise I can't do that. And as Ray said, so there are some very dangerous. Somebody pulled a knife on me in Manila. I went through very, very interesting stuff, and I made a vow never to fight. And I've upheld my vow until a year ago. And there was a journeyman walking, and he had no teeth, and he was very angry, lots of tattoos, probably an ex-yakuza. And he bumped into me with his bag, deliberately knocking out my balls. So I fell onto the ground. I was not happy. I stood up, and then I realized that actually with his bag, he slammed into my son's face. And I saw my son, and I saw the bruise, and I will kill this man. Like, in that instant, just stepping up for the family, I'm going to kill you. I walked up to him, slammed his bag, and he saw in his eye, I'm gonna die. I'm going to die. In an instant, I thought, this guy is dead. Just to step up for the family, the possibility of violence that you guys talked about earlier on, I wanted to echo on this. This is really important to do, to have the restraint to not to fight, but to defend your family when necessary, to step in. So that
Yes,
was my
that's
2
very,
cents.
very
That
good.
was my last story.
That's very good. I want to
Thank you.
acknowledge you coming on the panel. I know it's like 4:30 a.m. there. Appreciate that. I want you to come back on our violence channel to get more into that. We want to talk about the first steps for somebody to take here. Zach has done these first steps. I want to pass the Family Alpha. I want to everybody go subscribe to the Family Alpha. I want to pass it to Zach. He's got a consult. He's got to lead to. And so, Zach, jump up here and give us your take on starting out on this fitness journey. What are
No,
the
absolutely, brother. First, Laurent, very well said, man. It's cool to see your journey. And so I really appreciate you guys letting us into your world. That's something that never gets old. Something else I'm going to challenge Huds a little bit. He said, I'm not like you. I hate self-deprecating words. So make sure you throw the word yet in there. Don't ever make yourself come across as less than, Huds, because you're fucking crushing it, dude. You're on the panel for a reason. So you might not be at his level yet, but don't say not. I'm not like you. You're just like him. You're like the rest of us. Getting after it, making ourselves better. Phil had made a point about, the things that you have to say goodbye to. And oftentimes that holds men back. They think they're going to lose things that is a part of their identity. But I want to point out, you're going to lose the things that make you sad. You're going to lose the things that pull you away from that image you had of yourself when you were a young kid. You're like, I'm going to be the man. I'm going to be strong. I'm going to be the hero. And then some really bad habits found their way. And all you're getting rid of are those bad habits. Alcohol has been brought up a few times. Working with Phil, he said, dude, you can't have both. Phil is the one man. I have I would say a very large network, many acquaintances, and a few friends. I was drinking myself into a grave. I was drinking myself into destroying my family. I was drinking myself to destroying the life that I had built, which my whole life I couldn't say was something I cared to lose, but I was at the point where I did have a lot to lose. And Phil was the one friend, not acquaintance, not coworker, the friend who reached out and said, bro, you're going to fuck your life up. I can help you. Check out this program, but you can't do the program and the booze, not the way you drink. And so I'm 2 years and 4 months sober.
Congratulations.
After 20 years of binge drinking because of one man who tipped that first domino and had that conversation. That conversation sucked ass. But guess what? I got rid of a thing that was making me sad. And you know what I found? My fucking dignity. I found pride. I found motivation again. I found that light that was in the young Zach that was like, yo, you're going to be the man when you grow up. When we grow up, we're going to be the man. I could hear that voice again. And so the things that you have to look at here, you have to understand, you show up on time for work Monday through Friday. But when you get Saturday and Sunday for yourself, you're late, you sleep in, and you want to relax. You give the world everything and you give yourself nothing. And what happens when you work with guys like Phil and you get onto a program and you find that coach, you start to see the guy in the mirror, look back and say, bro, you're fucking worth it. You're somebody I want to work with. If I'm going to give my boss this time, I'm going to give myself double that time. I'm going to wake up before work. I'm going to go crush it at work. I'm going to come home and be the fucking man there too. On weekends, I'm not going to sleep in. I'm going to wake up earlier. I'm going to get after life. I'm going to put me first to make me a priority. These are the things that you find along the way of this journey. And so it might come across as daunting, but I'm telling you right now, I think Glenn said it. Walking in that front fucking door, that is the heaviest lift. And all you have to do is get yourself there. Understand, A, that you are worth it. And B, step back for a moment and recognize it's not weak of you to go out and say, I need help. That's the strongest fucking thing a man can do, because it means you've stripped everything to the side and you don't give a fuck about the judgment that comes. You want results. And so you're not worried about what people are thinking of you. You're not worried if you're going to look stupid in the gym because you don't know the exercise. You're not going to feel like everybody's watching you. You're not going to care, because at that point, all that matters is you get closer to your goal. That's all that fucking matters. Losing the weight, adding the mass, improving the cardio, whatever it is. We are meant to be dangerous men for as long as possible. For me to be an active and involved grandfather, because I'm the fucking family alpha. I'm the dad who's all in on fucking being a dad. I set that fucking bar and I understand it. I made it a part of my brand. It's a part of the mission of my life for my reasons. Some episode we can dive into what drove me there. But I also want to be the top tier motherfucker that's the grandfather. So the fucking the family grandfather alpha. What the fuck you want to call that? I'm going to be that too. But to be that man, I've got to put the reps in today. To be the grown, to be the 60, the 7-year-old. I see you men, and that inspires the fuck out of me, because I don't remember who it was that was saying they have abs at 62. But I'm like, yo, I want to be the dude at 60 and 70 and 80 that's running around in those fucking monkey bars, swinging around with my grandkids and my great-grandkids. I want to die fucking, yeah, we can leave it at that. I want to die. I want to go out with a fucking bang, man. But honestly, I want to leave behind a beautiful corpse and a fucking family that's like, yo, that dude was in all the fucking time. That dude believed in himself, and that's what we believe in ourselves, because our wives and our children, they follow our example, not our advice. And so set that fucking example for your family. Start that process. Just get it going. And the things that you lose, those are the things that are keeping you stuck. You're not really losing anything that's going to hurt you. Those are the things that make you sad. And what you will find is that fucking pride that you have not had for far too long. And again, I consider myself extremely fortunate, and I will go as far to say that Phil Foster saved my fucking life. So not just that, but his fucking programming, man, I've got it right now. I did it today. I had a fucking 100 goblet squats. I was on the bike and I went for a fucking walk with the family. Like, all I have to do is go onto the app and it tells me what the fuck to do. I just have to go and do the damn thing. I built a nice fucking home gym, so I don't even have to go anywhere. And like whoever else it was, I kept setting off the fucking lunk alarm, so they did not like me at Planet Fitness. And so I basically had to build my gym out of necessity. But it's one of the best investments I've ever made. And I want to thank you all for having me on. I do have a consultation I've got to get to. So gentlemen, you know, this, like I said, first time talker, but long time listener. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your energy. I appreciate you dedicating yourselves to doing this, because I know you're busy men. And for you to be out there helping other men, that is what the fuck this is all about.
Thank you, Zach. We loved having you on here. That's what the DragonShip's all about. A rising tide lifts all boats, and we are that rising tide, and we're glad to have you on board. Let me just ask you how many grandchildren you have.
None yet. I'm working on it. My kids are 13 and 10, so let's pump the brakes on that for a second.
As a quick announcement, I have 10.
Hey, Zach.
4 children, 10, and I got 2 in February. I will have 12 grandchildren.
I want to be that granddad, man. I want to set that power and set that fucking tempo over the family.
At 60 years old.
Hey, Zach, did you get banned from Planet Fitness?
No, I had to talk with the manager.
I need you
I
to
didn't
go
get the
back.
ban, though.
I need you to go back and get banned, because I am literally banned.
You got to get on that wall, man.
They canceled my
Zach.
membership and put my name on a list that I can't get a membership there again. So it's great. I don't need it. So that's your next goal.
I think when I went over there to check it out, I saw your face on the band, the lunk alarm thing. It says, "Don't be this, don't be Glenn Laurence." So it's a Glenn Laurence alarm, right?
Exactly.
Hey Thor, you think we can get Zach to plug his stuff? Oh, he's gone.
Oh, he had to go. Yeah, let's plug it for him.
Yeah, you want me to plug it real quick for him?
Yep.
You can find Zach Small at ZachSmall_ on Twitter, Facebook. You can find him at thefraternityofexcellence.com. He does the 31 DTM program several times a year. And that's, I ran across him when he was Hunter Drew. And so he's a solid guy. I'm glad he was able to hop on. Thor, thanks for extending that olive branch to him so he could hop on here and spit it.
Yeah, Zach's a wealth of knowledge. I'm going to go ahead and share his website in the chat.
Excellent.
Perfect.
We worked with him in the past. He is quite the guy.
Good. And who did we miss on getting started? We did Phil, myself. Let's start with Mark. Go ahead and give us the getting started portion, the details of how to get started on this fitness journey. I mean, how important, Mark, is it to selecting something?
Well, yeah, find something you think you might like, but I'm kind of different as far as getting started because a lot of people are afraid to go to the gym. So I'd say for the people who are afraid to go, if you can't face that fear, just get out and take a walk. I mean, because you're talking, there's some people out there that are sitting in Cheeto dust, and for them to get up and walk to the kitchen or go upstairs is a killer. So for those people, I would say just get up and walk to the first telephone pole and walk back and sit down. You might be out of breath if you do that. I remember when I first started running, I ran one telephone pole length and back and laid on the couch and about passed out. That was back when I was 20. That was after a life of partying and drinking, a young life. So, and then every day, just go another telephone pole length and get to where you can go a mile or whatever. And you might want to start running or whatever you like. If you decide to go to the gym, like I think Glenn said, just go there for 20 minutes or maybe just 10 minutes. So many times people think that if they don't go there for half an hour or 2 hours or whatever, that it's just not worth it. And I know some of you guys have probably experienced this like I have, coming back from an injury. Like now, I can't lift what I was lifting before. I can't run what I was running. And when I started back, it was like I went a half mile and I was like, I was weak and about to pass out. But now I'm getting my legs back underneath of me. So if you're just starting out or just starting out again, just realize that it's going to take time. I think sometimes it's almost harder to start again because you're trying to train off of memory what you used to could do. It doesn't matter when you're starting out fresh if you've been off for a long time. But for anybody, try to envision yourself as you want to be every day too. That's a very important part of it. Take 5 minutes and lay there and see yourself through your own eyes, being and having the type of body or the type of skill in sports or whatever, fitness, whatever you like. See yourself and feel what that's going to be like. Try not to look at yourself other than like what was suggested by looking in the mirror and, hey, do I need to go to the gym? But after that, see yourself as you desire yourself to be, not as you are, and start trying to feel like that person. This will give you motivation or will nudge you intuitively to go to the gym. You just have to just do a little bit at a time. What do they say? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. It's the same way with working out. None of these guys that are really in shape, or actually everybody here, whatever you've accomplished, none of us got there just all at once. Everybody, oh, I'm going to go there for an hour today and I'm going to get it. No, it takes time and there's setbacks and then there's accomplishments. We have victories and defeats, and it takes all of that to build the character and the physical and mental strength. So be prepared for that and just realize it's not going to happen overnight. You didn't get to how you are out of shape overnight. So you're not going to get back in shape overnight.
Good. That's very good advice. Raith, you want to talk about maybe getting started? It's just like anything, right?
Yeah, I kind of do it a unique way. I'm kind of like Mark in some respects. I just say do something, like you said, and if it is just taking that, walking 100 feet and then walking back, that's a start. I do things a little different when I start getting. I look in the mirror and then I put a shirt on. I never look at myself again until I think I'm ready. So I don't want to see the results. That doesn't motivate me as much as, setting those goals and making the goals. And the goal isn't aesthetics for me. It's, did I walk my mile under 12 minutes or did I walk my mile under 8 minutes? I do those things. And then, I weigh myself every week, but I'm not focusing on weight. I focus on, how I feel, and, that's the way I do it. And then when I get to the point where I say, I'm really comfortable with this, then I'll take the shirt off and look and see what I have to improve. And then I start focusing on, because I've already developed a habit, but it's developing the habit first. Getting away to, how do you motivate yourself to develop that habit? It's hard. You just have to do it. Set time for it and do it. And, for me, the physical stuff isn't the difficult thing to do. It's the control of the eating and those kind of things, because I'm a foodie, I love food. And so I try to start, I get kind of mundane with my diet. I'll eat the same thing every day. Okay. Just so I can, control the calories and macros and stuff like that. I'm doing that right now. I'm intermittent fasting and setting my diet right now to drop back, down to 204. So,
Well, that's fantastic.
yeah,
That's a
and
good start.
yeah, but like I said, I'm not looking after I look in the mirror and see that I'm fat. I don't concentrate on that anymore. I don't have that image. I just have to put an image in my mind of where I want to be.
Okay. Very good. Very good. I like the visualization aspect because for me, I'll talk about it when it comes to me, but it's very important. I visualize myself at my peak performance level, and pretty much I don't go through a shaming process, but I go through kind of a process of imagining, and that motivates me.
Right. And that's what it is. I don't I don't go stand in front of the mirror every day saying I didn't make it, I didn't get this. And that means that you don't do that past comparison that Mark was talking about. You're visualizing what you really want to look like.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you, Raith. I really appreciate that. Glenn, you've seen me. I use mirrors all the time. You can see the gym behind me is loaded with mirrors because to me, that's a big part of form and getting your mind into the muscle and putting it there. And then, of course, getting started. It's a wonderful thing. I want to hear from Glenn on what his take is on just getting started on this fitness journey. Let's get to the details. I think you should educate yourself about diet and nutrition. I don't advocate any one diet because the reality is they all actually can work. But I do advocate that you understand total daily energy expenditure measured in calories and macros. Because if you do the fad dieting, they'll all work, but it's fad. You want to get something you can live with forever when you eat out, when you stay at home, when you prep. And if you follow those principles, you can make it all work. Glenn.
Yeah. So how do you start? What's the first thing you got to do? And we heard a lot of different things, and they're all right. They're all right answers. For me, the first thing you have to do is you have to make a commitment to yourself. And you have to realize that yourself, the commitment you have to yourself, the things that you do to improve your life needs to be more important, more of a priority than anything else first. And I'm not saying that you have to be completely absorbed with, the gym and you're there 4 hours a day, 7 days a week, sometimes 2 times a day. No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that you need to change your worldview. And you need to change the worldview, the way you see yourself and the way that you see the priority of your health and your goals, your fitness goals. Because your physical health, the way you feel or the way you look, it affects a lot of other areas in your life. And you're probably not going to the gym, or you're not putting the time into the gym now because it's not that much of a priority. And that's where a lot of Americans are. You know what? Being fat in America is a choice today. Being overweight is a fucking choice. Nobody's making you do it. Because there's gyms everywhere. There's diets out there. There's consultations. There's so much information just on fitness on YouTube alone that you could learn just as much as I has learned or Phil has learned from going to getting our personal training certificates. Like you could learn all that shit just by watching YouTube. So the information is at the disposable for everybody. But the problem is that nobody really wants to take the effort and make the changes necessary. So
it's too hard, Glenn. It's too hard.
It's not too hard. It's inconvenient. It's not too hard. And the problem is that it sounds good, but when it comes down to it, they don't want to sacrifice. That means they're not making it a priority first. And that's where you have to talk to yourself and let yourself know, like, look, my health, my fitness, my mental fitness, my abilities to protect and to defend my loved ones and myself has to be number one, because that's what I'm going to need to take care of my end of the family, what I'm supposed to do for them. And if I'm not able to do that because I'm choosing to drink my 6-pack every night and watch Family Guy or whatever and play video games with 12-year-olds on the internet, then you're saying it's not that important. So you have to make this change very important to you. And you have to believe that it's important and act on it. So that's very first thing. You have to adjust your mindset to understand that this is not a fad. This is not something you're doing for 12 weeks, okay? And you know, you're going to stay that way. No, this is a whole lifestyle change when you get into fitness and you want it to be successful. You have to literally understand that you're going to be changing your worldview on things. And it's okay. And no, you don't have to rush to get in there and lift all the heavy weights, but first change your mindset. You could slowly go into the gym, like, 20 minutes when you can, gain comfortability and grow off that. Everything that you do today in the gym is just the steps for tomorrow. Okay. And don't worry about, being able to lift heavier, whatever all that stuff. That is not as important as you getting in the gym, you learning the form, you actually talking to other people. So many people at the gym are the nicest people I've pretty much ever met in life. Like everybody I've competed with backstage, they were like everybody's best friend. And it's amazing. Like fitness people are some of the coolest people and the most humblest people. So if you want to have a good squad of people on your back, go to the gym. Like Phil was talking about the gym culture. Yo, it's crazy when you're a part of that gym culture and let's say you missed 2 days, somebody's calling you. Somebody's hitting you up by text message or something like, yo, bro, you okay? Yeah, I haven't seen you in a couple of days. And that's the bonds that you want to have because they are they're helping you stay accountable. So first thing is mindset. But after that, build off of it and continue.
Thanks, Glenn. That was very, very, very good. Huds, would you like to talk about starting out?
Yeah, he's going to start when I get there.
Yeah, get out of here. So I think I kind of like mentioned it earlier, and I'll just mention it again. Start small.
Sorry about
Start
that.
small.
You're going to take a little bit.
Yeah. So start small. It doesn't matter. If you go, like it's about the habit of going. So for me, especially when I rev up again, what I do typically, like when I've taken a break for a while, is just go for 20 minutes.
Yes.
It's the action of going that is the most important. It's not how much time you spend there. Because when you think about like, people like Glenn or people like Phil that are, they spend a lot of their time in the gym or they may do 2-a-days. You're thinking 1.5 sessions twice a day, like crazy things like that. Don't think of it that way. That's something you build up to if you wanted to get to that point. Otherwise, just go, do a couple exercises, 20 minutes, get back to your day. And that's so super simple to do. 20 minutes is nothing. 10 minutes there to drive there, 20 minutes, and then 10 minutes home. That's 40 minutes of your day taken for for good. And that's the whole idea that people need to understand. And then the more you do that, what you're going to find is that the days that you don't go, you're going to feel guilty and you're not going to feel as good. So it's about creating the habit. And then once you create the habit, it kind of takes care of itself. And then you can take it whatever path you want.
Yeah. That's good advice, man. I really appreciate that. We're going to hold you to that fire.
Can I add something to his little spiel? Because it's great. It was beautiful.
Here we go.
But he's right. Like you don't have to go to the gym for 1.5 hours all at once. If it doesn't fit your schedule, start with what fits your schedule. Okay. Like I go to the gym twice a day. I go in the morning and then I go in the evening because that works for me. I don't want to spend 2 hours straight in the gym because I have a lot of things I got to do during the day. So I'll go do, 45 minutes to an hour in the morning, and then I'll go back in the evening and do another 45 minutes to an hour, and that works for me. That may not work for your schedule, but work around what's going to work for your schedule. Set yourself up to be successful at it as well. So it's true. You don't have to do it like that, but Phil will tell you got to be in the gym more than 20 minutes. Okay. Or you ain't doing shit.
Perfect. So with that, I want to start with Mark, and we're going to work our way backwards, and we are going to give our final plugs for the show and our final thoughts. So, Mark, let's go ahead and get started doing that, and then I'll give the final thoughts and plugs. How about that?
All right. Yeah. Basically, we've pretty well covered everything, but just do something. I mean, it's so important for you to. It's amazing. We're a physical being. We can see that part of us, but yet most people take better care of their cars than they do of their bodies, and then they wonder why they feel like crap. So you need to move your body. You need to get out there and do something. You need to eat some food, something besides junk food. Just stay active. Get out in the sun. Get out in the weather. So many people get up in the morning. They leave the air conditioner house. They go in their air conditioner car. They go to their air conditioner office, and they come back home and do the same thing. And they wonder why they don't even breathe. They never even breathe hard. They just exist, and then they go to get what? Medications because they're depressed. You're going to be depressed if you don't work that physical part of your body. So that would be my main message today, is do something. Get more active. Take care of that body. You've only got one house. You got to live in it the rest of your life. So take care of it. That's about all I got.
Fantastic. Where can we find you, and when's your next show, and what's the topic?
I got a show this evening at 6:00. We're going to do Then and Now, how it was back when I was young and how it is for the kids now. We're going to have all my kids on there. You can find me at on YouTube at Mark Daniels, Mark's Inspiration, on Instagram at Mark's Inspiration. I got a couple of books on Amazon. Check those out, and that's about it.
Thank you, Mark. We love having you on. You're a wealth of knowledge and wisdom. Hudsman, tell me what's going on. Where can we find you? And you guys got some shows coming up. Please promote them. And will they be on the new DragonShip flagship network channel?
Yes, sir. I was actually on the phone with Glenn, my domestic partner, for like 3 hours last night.
Let's not use those terms.
Why? I know it pokes them. I like using it because it pokes them. But yeah, no. So we took a little bit of a hiatus this week as we were meeting and figuring out exactly how this is going to go. And we're going to do every Tuesday and every Thursday a show a week. Now, on the Tuesdays, when you're part of Thor's monthly mastermind, the DragonShip monthly mastermind, we are going to have a pre-recorded video that goes out. So we will not be live because we will be a part of Thor's monthly mastermind and give you advice and be a part of that conversation. So planning those things out, very excited for it. We rev up again next week. This was just too much this week. And then, and by the way, it's called Your Big Brothers. That's our podcast. And then outside of that, if you want to reach out to me, the easiest way to do so is at the Hudsman on Instagram. That's the best way to send me something, questions, anything else. Otherwise, that also links then to my website where you can schedule a consult if you're looking for something like that. But I'm always happy to help. Like my passion, Phil, listening to you talk about your passion of helping men get better, it really resonates with me. I don't do this for money. I don't do this for anything other than I want men to be better. I want them to have the life that they always dreamed of. And it gets me so revved up thinking about it. But yeah, so if that's something that you're looking for, whether you're, brand new to dating, or you're coming out of a breakup, or you're coming out of a divorce, trust me, I can help you out. Especially like one of the comments that was made earlier, like if you're like fat and overweight, maybe Huds has some tricks. Yeah, I do have some tricks. So that's it.
Yeah, he's gonna get you a real nice turtleneck that's flowery and really cute.
We'll save the whale hunting for later. All right, Glenn, Laurence, give us your final thoughts where we can find you, the channels you're going to be, and what's going on with my brother.
All right, so yes, I'm Glenn Laurence. I am the other partner in business when it comes to the Big Brother podcast show. we got some things coming out here for you guys. We did a little bit of recording last night, and just planning out the next couple shows. But what I want to talk about this topic right here, and I'll say my final thoughts on the topic before I mention anything else. I've lived it. I've been there. I've gone through it, and I know what's out there on the other side. I know you could be successful in fitness and have a good life, feeling better about yourself, being more healthy. And it's a choice. It's all it is now. It's a choice. It's how bad do you want it? There's guys out there that are, complaining that girls don't like them, or they're not giving them the attention, or they're not attracting the girls that they're attracted to, because they are not putting in the work that they need to get physically more appealing. I mean, Huds could put you in the best outfit, best looking metro outfit there is out there. But guess what? You're still fat in it. If you're still out of shape, you still don't have any definition or muscle mass. That's still not attractive. The outfit is attractive, but not the person wearing it. So, if you really want to make changes for yourself and for your life, make it a priority. You have to put you first. And if you have to do the work. But guess what? You can, and you could be successful. This is like the easiest thing to address when it comes to anything that men are dealing with. It comes to physical fitness is the thing that you get actual tangible results in a short amount of time. So build off of it. It's a great thing to start with. It's a great thing to maintain. And it's a way of life after a while. You become part of the gym, but it helps in so many areas, you guys. So don't downplay physical fitness. No, you don't have to be as buff as, Phil, or strong as Thor, but you could look as decent as Huds, and still maintain a physical
decent?
fitness. Yeah,
Did you just call me decent?
Yeah, I said decent. And I'm only mentioning your beard. But
that was the lunk alarm.
But whatever your goal is, whatever the ideal fitness physique is in your mind, do that. There's no rule saying that you have to look a certain way or lift a certain amount. But do what's going to be best for your life, your fitness level. And then I'll say, the show that we're going to be doing next couple of days is going to be pretty hot. We are getting into some interesting topics last night. So stay tuned for those.
Fantastic. I really look forward to these as well. Raith, take us out with where you can find you, what you do, man. Oh, you're muted, brother. Muted.
You can find me in Raith _Deantior, just like the name says, on Facebook, Instagram, Telegram. I also will be in the next quarter of the men's group. I'm giving a lecture on recovery and healing, and that's just from the psychological standpoint. I also, I want to say something about fitness, but I want to talk about fitness as a whole. You're given two things when you come into this world. That's your body and your mind. Okay. It's important that you work with both of those, because you can't achieve anything with your body that your mind can't conceive. So as important as fitness is, it starts with the conception of who you are, what you want to be, and the determination comes from how you accomplish that. If you're not working on both of those at the same time, you can be, a really healthy idiot. That's about the best I can say. And you see a lot of them out there. You can see a lot of really healthy simps, if that's what you want to call them. And you can see a lot of really healthy people that are unhappy. Mm-hmm. Because their only focus is the external. if you look at anyone on this group, we're working on both at the same time. One feeds off of the other. That's the way it was meant to be. That's why it was given to you that way. So think about that when you're sitting there saying, I can't. Just drop the apostrophe in the T and say, I can. It's that simple. Way too many guys think that there's this easy button that any one of us is going to give you, and it's just not going to happen. You have to have the will first. And that is the most important thing that you're going to find. You can survive anything if you have will and self-discipline. If you're not focusing on that as you're trying to change your body or change your situation, you're going to go nowhere. You can't even take that first step. So I also have my own private men's group. I don't have a big social presence because I'm very, very much a private and introverted person, really. So if you're interested in that, contact me. I will tell you that you have to pass the muster with the rest of the people in the group. I just don't accept anybody into that group. And you talk to me, you write an introduction, and they'll tell me whether or not they want to accept you. It's not very expensive, but it is exclusive. So, if you want to work with that group, or if you want to work with me personally, first thing you have to do is contact me. I don't make my living at this. This is something I do because I do want to help men. But as Phil and Thor say, it costs you something because you have to put something into it. I've helped people for free and I've got nothing out of it. So the money you're paying me isn't making me rich. It's telling me that you're dedicated to yourself. And that's the most important thing.
Now, what's the easiest way for somebody to apply for that?
Contact me on Telegram and, I'll have a conversation with you. And then, we'll talk about, what you want to present to the group. And you put that in writing, we'll present it to the group and they'll make a decision. Because I don't want to waste their time any more than I want to waste my time. And they are very supportive of each other. So.
Most excellent. And I will remind everybody that Raith Deantior also has a YouTube channel for which the DragonShip is being broadcast currently. So you can find him there. Sounds good. I love that aspect that you just said. It is two aspects of this, and they feed off each other. Phil Foster, give us your final thoughts. You're muted, son.
My apologies. I put this up in the chat. It says, your physicality leads your mentality, gentlemen. And that's off of what Raith was just saying. It's to be around guys like Raith, you, Thor, and Mark, because you guys are older. You guys have longer teeth than the rest of us do in this group. And that's what's great about coming on these streams, because I know that people that are listening in are gleaning a lot of good information, because I'm a little bit advanced, I think, in my journey, and I understand a little bit better than some of the newer gents that might be picking up some of this information. And I gain something every time I do this with you. The three of you guys, you two Huds and you two Glenn, but it's the older guys. In this group.
No, that's cool. We're not part of the old.
Dude, you shaved, man. What do you want me to do, bro? What do you want me to do?
I know. Trust me. I've been hearing it all day.
But the thing is getting that sage, like what Raith said, that hit me like a friggin' meteor. Take the can't and drop the apostrophe and the T. Like Glenn says, man, you got to have that discipline. It's really fundamentally simple, guys. I mean, your physicality will definitely lead your mentality, and that's why getting into shape and displaying some discipline, not only to yourself, but then those around you, when they start seeing that discipline happen in your life, they go, man, that dude's starting to give a shit about himself. Well, I can't really handle him like I've controlled and handled him for the last 20 years of his life, because he gives a shit now. So your presence is going to change. Who you are is going to change. See, that the physical fitness aspect of you evolving as a man, or if you're a lady watching this, as a lady, people are going to handle you differently in social situations, period, and in private. You're going to be someone that they look at and go, okay, I can no longer handle that person that way. And that's the point, right? Is these streams are meant for you to kind of, it's like we're over here kind of like shaking you a little bit, saying, wake up a little bit and try it this way. Just try it. Just think about it. And Thor and Raith was 100% right. You got to have skin in the game. I've helped countless men, Raith, for free, and they throw it in the trash. They throw it in the trash. They don't take the advice. But it's interesting. We all chase money in our lives. You know, the system has tricked us all. We are a slave to the dollar. So when you use that as a motivator, it becomes a whole different ball game. Man, I paid that guy. I'm on this now. I'm in it. Let's go. And see, that's the magical piece to the whole thing. A lot of people miss. They get over the fact that, man, I had to pay, but now look at me now. And it goes back to what my girl said. Everybody needs a coach. Nobody in this world is above learning something from another man or another woman if you're a female. You guys got to understand that this whole thing, the DragonShip 100% is to get you guys to understand different perspectives in life, because we all have different backgrounds on this stream. And that's the beautiful thing that, you know, having this stream weekly like this. You can find me at PhilFoster_ on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can find me, the Growth Cache, which is Phil Foster on YouTube. You can also find me on the new DragonShip here that we've put together. You can find me at philfosterfitness.com. You can find your hormones counseling there. You can definitely get your training, subscription-based training. If you have some experience in the gym and you're just looking for some sweet programs to utilize on your phone, nutrition counseling. We have a men's community there. Once again, this is about getting men to become men again and waking up and getting out of that comfort and displacing that comfort with some discipline and watching who they become. Because here's the thing, man, you want to surround yourself with quality individuals. People that don't show any self-respect or discipline are not quality human beings. They are dragging you back down to where you were, period. And it's important for you to understand that. Once again, Thor, thank you so much for hosting us today on the DragonShip. Mark, Huds, Glenn, and Ray, thank you so much for all the words you guys have thrown out there, man. You guys are awesome. Thor, thank you again. Many blessings to you, my friend.
Oh, thank you. You're definitely welcome here. Love having you on. I'm going to give it my final thought on getting started. And guys, too long didn't read. Mark touched on it, but I'm going to go ahead and give you the story of eating the elephant as told to me by Odin. It may seem really hard, son, to eat the elephant. It may seem like an impossible task. There's so much to swallow. But the reality is, it's really easy. You got to remember two things. One bite at a time, and don't start with the tail, son. But Odin, why can't I start with the tail? Because it tastes like shit and you lose your appetite. That's how you start. Get that mentality and go. So where can you find me? Well, you can find me at becomedurable.com, guys. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share a couple screens with you real quick. So I'm going to plug a couple things I think is important for you to understand and to know. First of all, this is important. Guys, this is a big deal. I want you to understand that DragonShip, it's a brand new channel. The channel was conceptualized by this group of men right here. This channel has all of our channels feeding to it with DragonShip content. It's all about taking us together as a team to the next level, whatever that level is, because there's always another level. And in order to get to the next level, you must prepare yourself with knowledge, experience, understanding the pitfalls. And that's what this is all about. Your big brothers will be on here Thirsty Thursdays. You're going to have the flagship, the DragonShip panel show. And there'll be some other ones too. You'll see Rites of Passage, where I interview men on the Rites of Passage as they have learned how to gain red pill awareness in today's society and success. So you'll see those shows all here on the DragonShip. Also, I want to remind everybody, look forward to a DragonShip special I'll be doing with Glenn for Veterans Day. I think that's something we should acknowledge. A lot of veterans face a lot of issues that men coming up in society actually face, you know. especially the younger generation. So come take a look at this set of panel members right here on the DragonShip. And then for me, you can find me at Become Durable. And, you know, really, if you're interested, let me go ahead and post this too. Join my monthly mastermind, because really the monthly mastermind, which is Thor's DragonShip monthly mastermind, is a group of men right now, just over 24, that get together and we do a once a month meeting for 3 hours. This is individualized coaching, but it's much more than that. It's also a social group of men, for men. And these panel members here will be broadcasting and giving their advice. They'll be lecturing on various topics. And I can show you some of those topics here, which I also sell on Become Durable. I have a video lecture series, which is the master of mastering oneself, which is also creating a dominant masculine presence is one, learning emotional durability, testosterone and hormone replacement, what every man should know. I touch on some of those topics that Phil did. Also, you can purchase these individually or you can purchase them as a whole. There's others on here, such as principles of successful long-term relationships. Realize, guys, most guys want a successful long-term relationship. And it's not like being a player. Regardless of what they say, it is game at a whole different level when you want to make it last for a long-term relationship. It truly is. And then on top of that, the cure to a sexless relationship, come see my lecture on that. That is the ultimate dread game plan with all the stops pulled out. It's not sensationalized, and it is really pretty amazing. So guys, come check that out there, and you can also book an hour if you need to with me as part of that. So let's go ahead and stop the sharing, guys. I appreciate all of that. Go ahead and join that monthly mastermind for uncensored, in-depth, once a month. That right there has been the leverage to launch the DragonShip and the DragonShip network. We really appreciate you for coming in on that. I'm going to take you guys out today with something a little bit different and hopefully inspire you. It's called Let's Get Some Skull.